Omaha, more like, oh my God. Am I right? Man, this College World Series has been fantastic.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That. I like
Welcome
that.
to Wire with Diesel. He's Cole Bryson. I've watched College Baseball World Series in the past. There's something about this one, Cole, that I am more juiced for than I've ever been.
Yeah.
Right? Like my team doesn't make the College World Series. So like it's not that. It's not that my team is in it. I don't have any rooting interest in any of these teams. What I'm saying is what we're seeing right now, I believe, is the highest quality, most entertaining College World Series we've ever gotten. Sorry, Gamecock fans. I know you're going to say, but what about the year that we won it? I don't care. I don't care about your, self-aggrandizing. Back in my day when we won it, it was fantastic. No, I'm saying that we're getting a fantastic product right now. It's getting more coverage. It's great. Inject it right into my veins. Am I right?
No, it's fantastic. The only thing I would say is when Vanderbilt was in the World Series over the last 8-year span. Again, I agree with you. I'm not pushing back, but I would say that Vanderbilt's dominance was something that really South Carolina's dominance was amazing. Don't get me wrong, but for whatever reason, Vanderbilt's dominance it was just something I had never seen at the college level. However, I do like the parity. Seems like there's a good amount of parity right now in college baseball.
So our championship series is set. Tennessee at 58-12 on the season versus Texas A&M 52-13. First pitch is Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Why? Why are we doing this Monday thing? Why is it not Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Diesel? Come on. What do we have to play college championships on Monday for every sport?
Because the ratings say that you need the weekday. It's all about money, right? They schedule these things based on money. I just hope that a lot of people can watch it because, man, it is.
I do too.
College baseball is a more exciting brand of baseball than Major League Baseball. I'm going to say it right. It's the same way I feel about college football. I think college football is a better product than the NFL. I don't care that everybody in the NFL is the best of the best and the top 1% of college football players go to the NFL. So by definition, it's better football. It's not. It's not better football. And college baseball is just flat out better baseball. Okay. Maybe the fact that, especially when you're in the regular season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the regular season versus postseason is different in football and baseball. Like I'm talking about the quality of games that you get. We're finding ourselves, Cole, getting a lot of very evenly matched high-level teams going out there and showing off. And that's not what we necessarily get in the 14 playoff era. We've seen a lot of blowouts in the semifinals and a lot of blowouts in the championship games. We're just not getting that.
I think when it comes
in college baseball in this postseason.
I think when it comes to baseball, people love offense. Yeah. And when you talk about Major League Baseball, yeah, there's offense, but there's also prolific pitching, like really good pitching. I mean, you've seen games in the college baseball ranks. Florida, on Wednesday, yesterday scored 15 runs in one game, and Tennessee scored 7, A&M scored 6. I think, listen, people like offense. As much as people want to say, no, we appreciate good pitching, Diesel, the fireworks, right? Well, they say defense wins championships, but offense sells tickets.
I think the truth is at this level of baseball, hitting is just above pitching. Hitting is outpaced pitching at this level. That's not to say that bats. Right. It's not to say that there's not elite pitching at the college level.
Yeah.
But the hitting is, on the whole, the hitting is just better than the pitching at this point. Especially when, you get off into the major leagues and you spend day after day after day and month and year honing your skills as a pitcher. The pitching can catch up to the hitting. But right now, the hitting is better. It's an offensive brand of baseball, and it's just flat out better. So how do we get here, Cole? Going back to the Wednesday scores, going back to Tuesday, Florida State eliminated North Carolina 9-5. Kentucky, Florida, that game was postponed until yesterday morning. Let's see. Tennessee eliminated Florida State 7-2. Florida State hit 2 solo home runs in that game, Cole, but couldn't really string anything together. No, I mean, they stranded 5. Now, here's the difference, Cole. Oddly enough, in that final being 7-2, Tennessee could have piled on a lot more in that game. They stranded 7.
Yeah.
So it could have been a lot more lopsided of a game, but it wasn't. So I thought that was a fantastic way to kind of eliminate Florida State, especially after what we saw the first time around where the umpires really beat Florida State. The second time around, it was all Tennessee. Like, there was no question about how these two teams got here and how this team progressed past Florida State the second time around. It was very clear. 7-2. That's Tennessee, an ass whooping.
Diesel, Tennessee puts pressure on opposing teams, I think, in a way that not many teams do. Like, they just jump out. They first inning, bam, from the very get-go, they're putting runners on base. They're putting runners in scoring position. Yesterday, fielder's choice, runner scored, first inning. Before you know it, Diesel is the third inning, and Tennessee's already up like 3 or 4 runs. They just put a lot of pressure on opposing teams to where it almost feels suffocating, and that's what makes them so good, man.
More scores from yesterday. Florida, you said it. They didn't just beat Kentucky. They eviscerated them 15-4. Texas A&M, who hasn't trailed this entire postseason, which is a stat that should blow you away. They have not found themselves down in the entire College World Series postseason. They eliminated Florida 6-0. Florida was a fantastic story, Cole. I think they certainly took this thing farther than anyone expected them to. How'd
they not score a run, though?
Yeah.
Like, that surprises the heck out of me.
I think I saw somewhere this was the first time they had been shut out in 152 days.
I believe that.
Or something like that. So Florida never gets shut out, and Texas A&M just completely shut them down. So here we are, Cole. Tennessee, Texas A&M, number 1 versus number 3.
Let's go.
In a very, very tight series. Money line has Tennessee on this one, -155. I love the fact that we've got two juggernauts of this sport in this season going at each other in this national championship series. I love that the series is only 3 games.
Yeah.
Now, you baseball purists are going to say, oh, no, it needs to be longer. We need to have a 7-game series. We need to have at least a 5-game series. Nah, man, 2 out of 3. Every single game matters. You cannot afford in any way, shape, or form to drop a game. You cannot afford to lose game 1, because then you got to go beat this team 2 times in a row, which, again, we talk about Major League Baseball postseasons. We talk about the NBA postseasons, the hockey postseasons, and say, we got to shorten these series down, man. I know they're not gonna, because there's money on the table. You don't want to leave money on the table. If you can go 7, if you can get the ratings for that and the advertising dollars for that, by God, you want to go make that money. But you know for competitive reasons, there is nothing like a 3-game series.
No, there's nothing like it. But what I take away is from the baseball that we've seen, like, we talk about different playoff formats all the time and which ones we like the most, which ones we like the least, Diesel. We truly, in my opinion, it truly feels like Texas and A&M and Tennessee are the 2 best teams. Tennessee's just been the best team all year long. Kind of like we talked about Tuesday with Boston, right? They were the best team all year long, and they've only lost, 13 games on the season. So it feels like these 2 teams, Florida, as you said, was a great story. Offensively, they were fantastic. Let's be honest, Jack Caglione won a lot of games by himself, including one in the Supers and one in Omaha, but it truly feels like you have the 2 most complete teams left standing.
Yeah, friend of the show, Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered, tweeted earlier today. He retweeted something he had tweeted earlier in the season where he said Tennessee was due for a rocky flop this season. And then, you know what? A lot of credit. He had the stones to retweet himself today and said this take gets colder by the day.
Rocky top or rocky flop.
Exactly.
Hey, real quick, before we move off of Tennessee, I want to play some audio, Diesel, from Tony Vitello after yesterday's World Series clinching victory to send them to the championship series. Here's the head ball coach of Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm still trying to grasp what happened. We got hustle and bustle there with y'all putting on 3 games, and thank goodness it's going fairly well. 3 games in one day is tough, but a heck of a day to have in Omaha. And us being the sandwich game, like I said, I think it's one of the weirdest games I've ever been a part of. Maybe we came out on the winning end because we have one of the weirdest pitchers I've ever been around in Xander, and he threw the ball really well and led us into the battle the way that he should. But both teams struck a bunch of balls very well. Both teams made some great defensive plays, and both teams have explosive lineups that kind of leave you on the edge of your seat, at least where I was standing. So hopefully the fans felt that way too and got their money.
He's one of the best coaches, man. Like, you talk about somebody who's fired up, who gets emotional, kind of like Eric Bakich, but Tony Vitello Diesel is one of those coaches that just makes you want to run through a freaking wall. I love him.
Yeah. How did these two teams stack up during the season? Well, they didn't play during the regular season. They did play each other once during the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
Tennessee won that matchup 7-4. You can maybe read a tiny bit into that, but in a 3-game series, things are different.
It's one game, right?
It is. But let's look at some of the numbers from Tennessee and Texas A&M. See if we can get a decent sense of where we think this game might go. So Tennessee on the season, Cole, putting up 9.2 runs per game. Let's see. That includes 10 runs per game in the postseason. So they're getting a little bit better down the stretch. Texas A&M is surrendering just 4.5 runs per game, 5 runs a game in the playoffs. Now, obviously, you're playing against better competition, so that's not really shocking that you're giving up just a little bit more in the postseason as compared to the regular season. The Vols have scored 6 or more runs in 45 games this year. They hold a 42-3 record in those games where they scored at least 6 runs.
So if they score 6 runs, it's an automatic win, right?
Pretty much.
Which is pretty freaking consistent.
And
man.
they are 7-2, Cole, in games decided by just 1 run. So Tennessee knows how to win in tight games. They score 6 runs. It's pretty much lights out.
You look at that team, man, and you sit there like if me and you, Bev, both said tomorrow, let's do a segment, Diesel, where we try to find holes on Tennessee's baseball team. Let's try to pick them apart. Let's try to find their weaknesses. Guess what? You couldn't do it. Like they literally, I don't want to say they're unbeatable, not a juggernaut by any means, but man, like try to find a hole, try to find a deficiency. You're not going to. That's what makes this team so impressive. They're truly, as of right now, knock on wood, there are no holes on this team.
And they got the pitcher with the amazing Raleigh Fingers mustache and the long hair. It's kind of got that Philip Seymour Hoffman look thing going on. All right, let's move over to Texas A&M. They are averaging 8.7 runs per game, but Cole, here's the difference. They are scoring 11 runs per game in the playoffs. So they are getting better down the stretch as well. Opposing team scoring just 4.1 runs per game against them, including 5 runs per contest in the playoffs. So again, teams are getting a few more runs against them in the playoffs, but not by much. Let's see. The A&M Aggies own a 40-2 record when compiling 6 or more runs. They're 5-4 in 1-run contests. So, you know, these seem to be, Cole, about as evenly matched as they possibly can. So Tennessee scores 6 runs, they're 42-3.
Sure.
Texas A&M scores 6 runs, they're 40-2.
Well,
the main difference here, and who knows how much this comes into play here, the main difference is the 1-run differential games. Tennessee 7-2 in those games, A&M 5-4 in those games.
I think it's really, and we'll get into this more tomorrow, I think it's strength on strength.
Sure.
Like you look at Tennessee's strength with their pitching. You know, I've said that's the reason I picked them, Diesel. That's the reason that I picked them to win it all is their pitching. And then you look at A&M's strength is their consistency at the plate. That's going to be a ton of fun, strength on strength. I still am going to pick Tennessee. I like them by a little bit, but I do think it goes 3 games. And not to interrupt the baseball talk, but I did want to drop a piece of breaking news as the Los Angeles Lakers have hired J.J. Redick to be their next basketball coach. He agreed to a 4-year contract with the Lakers per Adrian Wojnarowski. So a little bit of breaking news there.
Yeah. So again, this series is going to start on Saturday at 7:30. That's going to be first pitch for game 1 in this series. You're going to be looking at a couple of big names. If you have not yet watched any college baseball this year, start.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Start on Saturday. Where are you? Where you been? Exactly. You know, you need to look for a couple players on Tennessee's roster. Blake Burke, that guy is 7 for 14 in the postseason, 4 doubles, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs. He's hitting at 500 right now. Billy Amick, he's batting .353. He's 6 for 17 with a double and 3 home runs. Christian Moore for Tennessee, excellent as well, hitting .333 in the postseason. And Hunter Ensley hitting .353, 6 for 17, double, 3 home runs, and 7 RBIs. Now, Cole, I know you're a Tennessee fan at the moment. You're a Tennessee fan at the moment, and I did choose a maroon team to win this thing. So I think I got to go opposite of you. I've got to go Texas A&M.
Keep the colors the same.
Keep the colors the same.
I like that.
I'm a simple creature. You know, I can't change things very often. I need time and some counseling to be able to change on a dime like that. But if you're following Texas A&M and you want to stay with them, Hayden Schott, he is absolutely electric for A&M. 8 for 13 with a double, a home run, and 7 RBIs in 3 games. Caden Kent, he's batting .444. Let's see, Jackson Apel, he's hitting at .385. And Ted Burton, he is delivering at .455, a batting average in this postseason, going 5 for 11 with a double, 4 RBIs in 3 postseason games.
I do want to give a little shout out to Kirby Connell. Texter friend of mine, Brock, sent me a text and said, hey, don't forget to give Kirby Connell some love. He's the pitcher with a mustache for Tennessee. Played high school baseball right here in the upstate in Blacksburg, South Carolina.
How about it?
Right about it in the upstate.
Yeah. On the pitching side, Cole, I mean, both of these teams are elite at pitching. You're right. This is strength on strength. Both teams are hitting the ball really, really well right now. Both teams have excellent pitching staffs on the season. Team average against A&M, 298. Team average against Tennessee, 310. A&M's given up 160 home runs this year. Tennessee, 178. Tennessee has a slightly higher earned run average, but they have 151 more strikeouts on the season. So I don't know what's going to break with these two teams. This is kind of the definition of an unstoppable force meets an immovable object.
It should be a lot of fun. One point that we have not gotten to yet that I'm sure we will, but JB sent me a text and brought this up, Diesel. When you look at the NCAA baseball championship series, he sent me a text, a friend of the show, and said, look, here's the chart of the SEC in the finals since 2008, 2024 right now, Diesel, Tennessee and A&M. Last year, Florida, LSU. 2022 was that Ole Miss. 2021, Mississippi State and Vandy. 2019, Vandy. 18, Alabama. 17, Florida and LSU. 15, 14, Vandy. Mississippi State and 13. South Carolina and 12. 3 years in a row, 10, 11, 12, South Carolina was in the World Series, LSU in 2009, and Georgia in 2008. So since 2008,
owns the sport.
They do. They literally, since 2008, the SEC has been almost 100% present in the championship series, and an SEC school has won most of those. That is flat dominating.
You got to think a part of that, Cole, comes from the football money, right? The broadcasting, television rights money, and the ability of the football program to share some of that money down the line to baseball, to where they can have better facilities, they can hire better coaches. I mean, I remember pointing out earlier, I think it was during the super regional round, and thinking, man, NC State's facilities just look lax, right? They look lacking compared to the other SEC facilities that we had seen in the postseason. I mean, Clemson's facility, Doug Kingsmore, is a fantastic baseball stadium, right? But I mean, Clemson is kind of the cream of the crop as far as facilities in the ACC. I mean, the SEC schools, all of them have elite facilities. All of them have great coaches. And that's just, I think, part of what comes with having extra money, sitting in the bank coffers around campus every year.
Yates on the stream. By the way, we're live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Yates says, y'all got some explaining to do. Every local show on yesterday, except for y'all, we had to listen to another show at work yesterday, and the guys didn't like it. Listen, I hate that. I'm sorry. One day we're out.
It's a holiday, you guys.
Company holiday.
We're celebrating Juneteenth.
That's right.
Yeah.
Company holiday.
Don't hate us because Odyssey decided to give us the day off.
Give us a free day off. And it's our fault. But we appreciate you listening. And look, we like that when we're not here, we're missed. We appreciate it.
Coming up in the 5 o'clock fight, Cole, we are going to fight about who had the better day off.
Yes.
And you guys, the Tolos, that means turn it on, leave it on. Y'all are going to get to tell us who had the better day. Neither one of us sat around on our asses doing nothing. I can promise you that.
No, I'm sore. Really, really sore. Are we doing that at 5?
Are we?
I'm looking now.
I thought it was in the 5 o'clock fight.
It might be. If it is, I just overlooked it. But
maybe I'm wrong. Okay, we're debating it at a different time during the show. I told you wrong.
Well,
we're doing it at 6 o'clock.
Is it 6?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. So excuse me, I got that wrong.
We'll have some
Rusty,
good stuff.
Man, we took a day off.
Yeah, we hadn't been here.
Yeah.
I do want to give another programming note. Coming up in 1 hour from now, we will be joined by Najee Thompson former Boiling Springs Bulldog right here in the upstate. He is a current safety and special teams ace for the Minnesota Vikings. So we will talk to an NFL player here in the next hour. Stay tuned for that. Should be a really good interview with Najee, really, really close friend of mine, and appreciate him coming on. But Diesel, the Atlanta Braves are red hot right now. We'll go behind the curtain, if you will, and find out what their key to success has been next. If all it takes, Diesel, for the Atlanta Braves to start playing well is for us to talk about how bad they're playing, I'm going to talk about how bad they're playing every single day. Starting today, they suck. They're no good. They're terrible. They're not going to make the playoffs. Pack it in. Tank for the first round. Whoever the best prospect is, tank. Because as soon as we started talking bad And I mean really talking bad. Early last week, Diesel, you and I, and more me than you, but really started hitting the panic button and trash talking the Braves and saying they were just trash and didn't even belong in the league, right? What do? They say, well, watch this. We'll flex our muscles. We'll go win 6 of the last 7.
Did you ever see the movie Ghostbusters?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that part where they like pour the slime into like the toaster oven? It makes the toaster come alive.
Yeah.
Well, the slime reacts to negative comments.
Well,
like remember they started yelling at this pink slime, and it started getting angry and bubbling, and it made things come alive.
So I'm the slime?
No, the Atlanta Braves are the slime.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
You're Venkman. You're yelling at the slime,
Gotcha.
and the slime has come alive.
Well, I'm going to keep doing it because, by the way, crazy statistic. If you didn't know this, I tweeted this earlier today, Diesel, and I had to fact check this like 3 times because I didn't believe it. The Atlanta Braves sweep this week, the Atlanta Braves sweep over the Detroit Tigers was the first sweep ever for the Braves against the Detroit Tigers. That is nuts. Doesn't even sound right.
Well, I mean, they're not in the same league, so they don't play each other all that often.
They've only played 30 times ever, which is not a lot. Those two teams just don't play each other for whatever reason a lot. Like you said, obviously they're in different leagues, but still, you thought you would think like the Braves play Boston a good bit for.
Well, the Tigers have sucked so long; they're not getting into the playoffs. They're not, they're certainly not making the World Series. And the Braves, they were winning a lot of pennants in the '90s. You would have thought back then.
You'd have thought
if the Tigers had been good, oh my, they might have faced each other in the World Series at some point. But no.
This was the first series sweep by the Atlanta Braves Diesel since they swept a 2-game series against the Boston Red Sox on May 7th. So it's been over a month, almost a month and a half. It was their first 3-game sweep since April 22nd against the Marlins. So you think about that. It's the first time they've had a 3-game sweep since April the 22nd. That is not that's not good. You should be getting a sweep at least once a month.
We shouldn't really even call a 2-game series a series, right? Like,
well, yes, true.
One time is a happening, twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern.
I like 2-game. I like a stint.
A stint. I like that.
I like a stint for a 2. So again, to say you swept a stint, 2 games. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. But, man, there's just so much good the Atlanta Braves have done in the last 6 of 7 as they've won those 6 of 7. They're starting to play like the Atlanta Braves that we truly know and love, Diesel. The pitching staff flexed their muscles this past week. We'll start with the pitching. The Braves pitching. It turned a dominant performance top to bottom in the series against the Tigers. Max Fried, Schwellenbach, and Reynaldo Lopez combined to allow 2 runs and struck out 19 batters in 16 innings. The bullpen was even better, tossing over 10 scoreless innings to go along with 13 strikeouts from the bullpen. Wednesday's win, Diesel, was the Braves' league-leading 10th shutout of the season. 8 of those 10 have come at home at Truist Park, where they just seem to be pitching a little bit better for whatever reason. The Braves also have the 7th best pitching staff by FWAR and the 5th best rotation. So while we're starting with the pitching, for as bad as the Braves have been the last month and a half, 2 months, Diesel, their pitching has been probably the most consistent part of this team and should be a bright spot going forward for Braves fans.
Well, speaking of going forward, Cole, I don't know that this win streak is going to have a whole lot of legs going into this weekend series. They're playing on the road at New York. The Yankees are phenomenal right now. Aaron Judge is having another Aaron Judge type of season.
But what better time to play him?
Right?
You're getting hot.
I mean, if you can win one of these, you're doing okay. You can't get swept, right? You can't have this momentum from this past 9-game stretch and then just lose it all by getting swept by the Yankees.
No, you don't want to do that for sure. And like you said, the Yankees are really good this year. They were good last year, but they just choke in the postseason. It'll be a really tough matchup as they're off today. But the pitching's been fantastic. And some of the hitters, some of the batters, Diesel, that have been in slumps have started to maybe get out of that slump. For example, Sean Murphy, tough start for him, right? He had an oblique injury on opening day, missed nearly 2 months of action. He entered Wednesday's game with just a 16 WRC plus and 1 home run over his first 56 plate appearances. .234 batting average was also terrible. However, he took a big step, put a lot of that behind him, homered twice on Wednesday. That was his third career 4-hit game. His RC plus is now up to 75. A lot of his statistics, as you look across the board, are starting to increase, as well as his home runs. They were 2 monster shot, two really important singles. Murphy entered the homestand on a good note, and maybe this is a turning point for Sean Murphy, as he just had a 236 batting average in the last 3 games before Wednesday, and now has a just below sub 300 batting average. So he's stepping up, and then you have a guy like Austin Riley who's heating up as well.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of knew that one or two of these guys at some point was going to turn this thing around and start seeing the ball.
Sure.
And like, they can't all just forget how to hit all at the exact same time, right? So somebody's going to turn it around. It's going to build some confidence with that individual player. It's going to start to rub off on the other players on this team, which is kind of how it happened with the slump beginning, right? Everybody was tattooing the ball in April and early May, and then all of a sudden, just guy after guy after guy was dropping off and not seeing the ball very well. But I think, Cole, maybe this is what re-sparks this team, and it gets them back up near to where the Phillies are.
Well, you've got to hope so, and I think right now they're 7 or 8 games back, which is good because, as you said, you do want to stay. We talked about it last week. You do want to stay within 10 games of them. You don't want to let it get over 10. But Sean Murphy coming back, starting to get back in a groove is important, Diesel. But I think the guy, now that Ronald Acuna Jr. is out, I think the guy for the Braves the rest of the season, and I could be wrong, but I think Austin Riley is going to have to be the guy that steps up and says, hey, I'll carry you. Like, I'm going to carry this team. I'm going to get you to the playoffs. And if we go win some playoff games, it's going to be because of me. I know that puts a ton of pressure on Riley, but he seems to have found a little bit of a groove in the past few days. He homered in each of the 3 games against the Rays, added 4 hits, 3 of which were doubles in the sweep against the Tigers. He was 10 of 19 with 4 doubles and 3 homers over the 6-game homestand. He only had 1 home run in June, even though he's still tied for 16th in the MLB. So, when you talk about snapping out of these 1-run losses, the Braves, they snapped a streak of 1-run losses. And a lot of the games they've lost have been close games. But if you have a guy like Riley step up, who in my opinion is going to have to be the catalyst now, I'm not saying this Braves team is going to make a huge run and win, 15 of the next 19. I'm just saying you do want to start looking for positives because, hey, man, we're almost in July.
Hey, I mean, Marcell Ozuna was hitting the ball pretty well during the majority of that slump. He was kind of the lone bat that was still hitting really well. So you get him, you keep him going. You get Riley and Murphy both going, and that's how this thing starts to snowball.
It rubs off,
in a positive
right?
way. Yeah, of course.
And we talk about it all the time. I can't remember who it was. Jake Mastriani, I believe, like a month ago, was talking about, just like when you're hitting the ball well, when you're slumping, that slump kind of rubs off. It rubs off on your teammates. And maybe if Murphy and Riley can start to pick it up a little bit, it can rub off on the teammates, and who knows? And hopefully Ozuna stays hitting the ball well, too.
It's incredible how baseball is kind of a game of groupthink. Like, you know what groupthink is? It's where you get a whole bunch of people together and they all sort of start to align their views along the same path. Well, I guess that sort of happens with baseball, right? You get this energy. You get this feeling of invincibleness when your team is hitting really, really well, or a couple guys on your team start hitting well. So even if you're not hitting well, you want to refocus in, and you really want to make sure that you're not the guy that's dragging this team down, and it just snowballs.
The bullpen, you lost Spencer Strider, and you knew that was going to be a hit, but Reynaldo Lopez, Chris Sale, those two have had a phenomenal year, and the bullpen in the last month and a half has kind of been an area, Diesel, where you looked at it and said, man, they're just, in close games, the bullpen's not helping you out, right? Well,
starting pitching has been phenomenal.
Yeah, it has been.
They've been carrying this team as much as they can.
So I talked about that stretch that was snapped of 7 straight losses in 1-run games. For Atlanta this season, they're 8-10 in 1-run contest. Additionally, this past week was the first time the Braves had won consecutive games by 1 run since September 2015, which is unbelievable. So when you look at close games, you talk about them being 8-10 in close 1-run games. All you do, and I'm not saying this is the simple solution, but the bullpen if they can continue to improve like they have been over the last week and a half, the bullpen gives you a major boost. Yeah, the hitting, Austin Riley obviously needs to improve, and a guy coming off of an injury like Sean Murphy needs to improve as well. But you want to talk about winning close games. Your bullpen improves. That's when you'll start seeing that record get back to more close to 500 instead of 8 and 10 in one-run games. Now, I know the Rays, the Tigers, not the best teams in the world. However, Diesel, you play who's on your schedule. And what better time to get a little momentum than right now? Because as you said, this weekend, let's see, they're off today. Is it a 3-game series? I don't have the schedule pulled up.
I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, they got a 3-game series
Yankees?
at New York.
So they'll have Friday, Saturday, Sunday at New York, and then
they have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay.
I gotta have to look up and see what the Cardinals' record is this year and how they're playing. I got a one-game stand at Chicago against the White Sox.
That's winnable. Cardinals, by the way, Diesel are 1 game below 500,
okay.
Second in a bad division. They're 36-37, very winnable series for the Braves.
Yep. The Chicago White Sox, again, they play a 1-game stand against them on Thursday of next week.
Okay.
And then a 3-game homestand against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Same division as the Cardinals, winnable. Look, this talking about this month. If you can finish out June winning the series against the
10
Cardinals.
games left this month.
10 games?
Yep.
So if you can win the series against St. Louis, win the series against Pittsburgh, that's the only other series other than New York, right? Because that's 9 plus one other. You said a 1 game?
Yeah, it's 1 game against the Chicago White Sox. That's a makeup.
Oh, is it?
That was a postponed game from April 3rd.
Gotcha. I was like, why the heck
That
would
was
they
an
be
early
playing?
game. Remember, they started at Chicago. I think that was the opening series,
opening
right?
weekend?
And then it was awful weather up there in Chicago.
And they're the worst team in baseball. 20-55 on the season are the White Sox. So you look at the rest of the month. You've won 6 out of the last 7. You're really starting to peak in a lot of areas. Your statistics are improving. You're hitting the ball. Pitching's phenomenal right now. And you play some pretty weak teams. And it'd be gravy on top if somehow you could win 2 in New York, right?
Yeah, if you can win 2 in a row, 2 out of 3 at St. Louis, win 2 out of 3 at home versus Pittsburgh, and beat Chicago as you should because they're an awful team.
Sure.
You're 5-10. You're at worst 5-10 over the next 10 games. So if you can steal one versus Chicago versus New York and maybe sweep the Pirates at home, then you're talking about going 7-3 over the next 10 games, and you put yourself back into a really good position.
Real quick, let's go to the Renewal by Anderson, the Carolinas fan phone. Daily Dewey. Dewey's had a couple of better calls lately. Let's see if Dewey can continue that 844 fan phone. What's up, Dewey?
Yes, I think the Braves are improving, but they need to fire Brian Snitker. They're going to take 2 from New York Yankees, and then they're going to keep winning. But they need to fire Brian Snitker.
Who do they need to hire when they fire Brian Snitker? Who do you hire then?
Chipper Jones.
Thanks, Dewey. That is your Daily Dewey 844 fan phone. That's 844-326-3663.
Proof that we'll let anybody have their time on this
Literally.
show.
We're for the people, right, Diesel? We are for the people, man.
Thanks for listening. If you're streaming us on the Odyssey app, appreciate you. If you're listening at 97.7 FM in Greenville or 97.1 FM in Spartanburg, thank you much. Or whether you're streaming us video-wise on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, however you're watching, consuming this show, thank you much. When we come back, we'll get to our Daily Wires, a quick runaround of some of the other sports stories going on out there. And then again, coming up for you at 4:20, a special guest, Minnesota Vikings safety, former Georgia Southern Eagle, former Boiling Springs Bulldog. Is that right?
That's right.
Najee Thompson going to be joining us on the show at 4:20 right here on the Fan Upstate.
1306.
Coming up at 4:20, a former Boiling Springs Bulldog, Najee Thompson, going to join us on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. He's now a Minnesota Viking.
Yeah, man.
Kind of a big deal playing in the NFL from right here in the upstate.
First
Fantastic.
NFL player we've had on the show, I believe.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Can't wait for that. You Boiling Springs Bulldogs alumni, make sure you're listening. Coming up here in just about 35 minutes on the show. But right now it's time, Cole, for us to get to what we call affectionately our daily wires. This is the buzz going on around the sports world. You heard us talking about it in the last segment. The Atlanta Braves have now won 3 games in a row and have won 6 out of the last 7. They are 41-31 on the season, 7 games back out of first place. That would be behind the Phillies in yesterday's game. Sean Murphy hit 2 2-run home runs versus Detroit. Outfielder Ramon Laureano hit a solo home run as well. So 3 in the game for the Atlanta Braves. Maybe those bats are getting hot. Reynaldo Lopez went 5 innings, gave up 7 hits and 0 runs in yesterday's effort. That guy has just continued to show that he was a smart decision to elevate him out of the bullpen to becoming a starter, because he's been just truly elite so far this season. The Braves are off today. We said they will pick things back up tomorrow with a 3-game stint against the dreaded Yankees. Panthers-Oilers game 6, Cole, is tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Did you watch any of, well, that would have been Tuesday night's game?
One of the, listen,
that
I'm
empty
not a
netter,
hockey guy, but that play at the end,
that empty
even
netter
though
that he ran down and got the ball,
like
got the
he
puck
was
out.
he was face first on the ice, and at the last minute just grabbed that puck, man, just barely grabbed it.
I mean, it didn't help him. It didn't help him because the Oilers got the rebound and shot it and scored an empty net. So, I mean,
but the view from the net,
right?
Oh,
that's a play that I've seen ESPN and SportsCenter running over and over and over again for the last 48 hours.
I've never seen anything like that for real. Like that was, if you have not seen that they deserve to win the match just because of that.
Well, the Panthers, I think, deserve to win the next matchup and the NHL Finals, Cole, because we have another flasher in our midst. There was a new flasher. I don't know where this is coming from. I love it. I mean,
trend.
Yeah. First, it started with Oilers Kate, and we played the audio of her last week saying, if you don't like it, then FO or something like that, or shut the F up or something. I don't know what it was. But see, hers was like pure just exuberance, right? It was just like, hey, woo, look at me. And then now I think it's becoming a trend. It's becoming gratuitous. The Panthers fan that did it, allegedly, I've seen online that she may or may not be an OnlyFans model.
They're giving people to watch hockey. They're giving people a reason to watch hockey.
Yeah.
Well, 2 reasons.
Unfortunately, you don't see this down low. It's not on television. It's just this was just an internet video from way up in the rafters. But hey, I'm cool with it. Truth is, Cole, that's public displays of nudity like that. It's the first time I ever saw boobies in real life. It's concerts, man. You used
Janet
to see
Jackson?
No, so I'm older than that, okay? Used to go to rock concerts all the time, and, there would always be ladies up on the shoulders of the men, and they would all flash the bands on stage. Women don't do that anymore. I don't know why. Not at concerts, at least. Maybe they just don't. Maybe they're just not as into the rockers as they used to be.
Maybe
they're into the hockey players now. Caitlin Clark posted a double-double this what was last night. Yeah. The Fever won their 3rd straight game. So some of the criticisms, Cole, and some of the bullets and some of the ammunition for reasons why Caitlin Clark shouldn't have been on the Olympic team are starting to fade, because the team is really playing great basketball right now, and they are again on a 3-game winning streak. Yesterday in the College World Series, Florida beat Kentucky 15-4 and then lost to Texas A&M 6-0. That just goes to show you how good Texas A&M's pitching was, because how do you go from scoring 15-0 in 2 games on the same day? I
say it's Florida's fault. They scored 15 runs in the first game. You should have spread them out a little bit. Maybe score 7 and 6, 7 and 8. Come on, I mean, why do you score 15 in game 1, then game 2 you just don't score any runs?
You're tucking yourselves out.
Yeah.
Tennessee beat Florida State 7-2 to send the Seminoles back to Tallahassee. Saturday, Tennessee will face off against Texas A&M in the College World Series Championship Final, an all-SEC final. Nobody's really shocked by that. I mean, the SEC teams on the whole were better, and I said it a couple of weeks ago that I thought there were 4 SEC teams that could go and win this whole thing, and I think only 2 ACC teams that I thought could do that very feat. And, well, they're proving me right in that sense. But I thought
domination.
I still thought Florida State would come out of this thing and win the whole thing, but it's not to be. South Carolina head baseball coach Paul Mainieri will join us on Wire to Wire tomorrow.
Bam!
Exciting for you Gamecock fans. If you've got questions, you Gamecock baseball fans, you got questions, we want you to be ready.
I don't know what time
on the text line and to be ready in the stream with your questions for Paul Mainieri.
Finalizing the time. As soon as I get the time, we'll update you. Just hadn't gotten a time yet, but we do know he will be joining us tomorrow.
A lot of people have been asking us about this one over the past couple of days, Cole. Why the Citadel had not yet hired a new baseball coach. Well, they have finally done that. Russell Triplett is their new head baseball coach. What do you know about Russell?
Well, he was an assistant under Jack Leggett for a long time. Jack Leggett speaks very highly of him. He comes from a very strong coaching tree, and this is kind of his first crack at it. Like, this is his opportunity to go and lead a team in the right direction. And when you can learn under a coach like Jack Leggett, you're probably set up for success. I think it's a good hire by the Citadel. They need it. They were bad this past year.
Legendary baseball player Willie Mays passed away this past week at 93 years old. Willie Mays, I mean, everybody knows him for the catch. It blows you away, Cole. This was game 1 of the 1954 World Series when Willie Mays did what he did. He was a career 301 hitter, 660 home runs. He is in the 3,000 hit club, and his stats would be even better, Cole, if he hadn't taken 2 full seasons off to go serve in the military. Willie Mays, true legend, a fine American, and he's certainly a huge presence in baseball that's going to be missed. R.I.P. Rest in peace, Willie Mays. J.J. Redick, this news just broke earlier today, Cole. J.J. Redick has been hired as the new Lakers head coach. Wondering how that's going to go with LeBron again. He's going to be LeBron's assistant coach. I don't know how. Does he have any head coaching experience?
No.
So that's going to. Do you think he was kind of hired as a yes man?
Look, not to get off on this tangent. I mean, I'm going to give him a chance, and here's why. When Steve Kerr was hired at Golden State, Steve Kerr had 0 head coaching experience. Mm-hmm. Turned out pretty okay, right?
Yeah, but he also had a young Steph. And he had a young team underneath him.
Oh yeah, no, that obviously helps. But JJ Redick, I think he's. Listen, I like the hire, and we'll get more into it later in the show. But I like it.
And finally, Cole, the NCAA has presented plans for an expanded March Madness playoff field. They could leave it at 68. They're looking at possibly expanding to 72 or 76 teams in the tournament. Right now, the TV deal for March Madness is worth $8.8 billion. That is not expected to change. So they're not expecting to add any more money to this contract. They're just going to spread that $8.8 billion around.
That's nuts.
Up to 8 more teams.
By the way, Tiger pal Rachel Big Tolo texted the show 71307 as you can do and said, "It's a shame the Braves are going back to losing this weekend. Go Yankees." Dang. How about that shot fired by Tiger Power?
We've never banned a texter on this show before, Cole, but I think we might need to.
No Yankees love here, man.
When we come back, Cole, we are heading into the dog days of summer, and I want to know from you, Tolos, what do you actually care about over the summer? What sports do you want us to cover? We're going to run down all the sports that are active during the summer, some of the big dates of some of those sports. And I want you to tell us what you actually care about and what we need to be talking about. That's coming up next here on the Fan Upstate. It's the end of June. You know what that means soon, Cole. We enter list season. That's when sports talk radio shows
Hey, check
have
out
the
this
worst
list.
time. Yeah, exactly. Have the hardest time creating content. You know why? Because we don't have any major sports that people really care about over the summer.
We're just going
For
to talk about
months.
probably
Yeah.
what's trending on the news.
Talk about ourselves and our feelings.
We'll put on a TV show, talk about it, give play-by-play on cornhole. I think there is cornhole coming up. We cover cornhole.
Somehow, Cole, I think analyzing cornhole is more interesting than analyzing mid-season Major League Baseball.
I mean, like cornhole.
I mean, do you really do the Tolos really want us to analyze, July whip for the Atlanta Braves? What? Do you really want us to analyze batting averages before the All-Star break? No, you don't. You know why? Because there's too much baseball. We have far too much baseball. The Major League season needs to be cut down by at least 40 games.
I was thinking 30. I was
cut it down by
30.
30, 40 games. Make
More
every game matter
games.
even more. Make them more meaningful. Or Major League Baseball needs to figure something out besides just the All-Star Classic, which is great. They got to figure out something else to make us want to watch mid-season baseball.
Mid-season baseball blows.
Like we're all kids are off school. Everybody's running around doing their own things.
Nobody's
They're going to the lakes. Nobody's paying attention.
Makes you want to do a header
stuff.
off the press box, man.
I just want to do a header off the top of the press box. Unfortunately, it's too low. It would kill me.
That's what mid-season baseball does.
Yeah, man. NBA's done. NHL is coming to a close either tomorrow night or on Monday night.
Listen, I love the Braves, but I agree with you.
Yeah, College
July
World
baseball.
Series is ending on Monday. There's no football until August. So over the summer break, this is a genuine question for the Tolos, and I want to gauge your interest in the sports that are active because, believe it or not, there are active sports over the summer. Okay.
Besides cornhole?
Besides cornhole, sports. We need more sports, major sports that can be played indoors, basically.
Okay.
But hey, if it was up to me, I would move the NBA season back and make them play up to and through early August.
Well, I've said it many times.
NBA
Start
finals
on
should
Christmas.
end. Yeah, NBA finals should take place in
End of
July. Yeah. That's how it should go. But they don't call us. Adam Silver's not listening to us. He's too busy. I don't know, hanging upside down in a dark room or emerging out of coffins somewhere.
We talking about
maybe
Adam Silver?
Maybe they're in the same room together. I don't know. So look, I'm going to go through some of the big events happening in sports over the next couple of weeks, and I want to know.
I don't want it to be bad sports. I'll be depressed. Don't depress me, please.
But hey, WNBA is more popular than it's ever been, right? I think we're going to have to start talking more WNBA. And it's not just, hey, here's how hard Caitlin Clark got fouled yesterday, right? Okay, so there's quite a bit going on, and I want to gauge from you, Tolos. So as I mention a sport, Tolos, I want you to text in 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. Give us a 1 to 10 scale. How interested are you in hearing us talk about these sports?
Hey, real quick, before you do that, why not move the WNBA season? I guess they can't because of college basketball, but the playoffs start in September, which is freaking college football. I mean, what if the WNBA finals were in the summer? I guess there's no way to. I
don't know that it would really change. I mean, they would have to drastically shorten the WNBA season. I mean, hey, the WNBA, that's where we're going to start, as a matter of fact. 1 to 10 scale, Tolos, how interested are you in WNBA content? And hey, this is gonna really show us, Cole, and probably prove to the world that the audience just ain't that into it. As big as it's gotten, right, with the Caitlin Clark story and the Angel Reese and the controversy this and controversy that.
This is the WNBA theme music, by the way, just breaking. Us waiting on a texter about the WNBA.
So we're coming up soon on the WNBA All-Star Game. That's mid to late July 20th, as a matter of fact. They take a break for the Olympics, and then the regular season comes back, and it goes through September 19th. Playoffs begin on September 22nd.
And who cares then?
Right. And then by October, see, this is the struggle right here. They're going up against the beginning of college football and the end of Major League Baseball.
No.
October 20th is the last possible finals game. Nobody's going to be watching. Nobody's going to be watching the WNBA over the Major League Baseball and the World Series. So Tolos 71307 texter says no WNBA. Just don't even bother.
There's your segment.
Don't even
All
bother.
right, next
segment. There's shows on this station, Cole, that spend a lot of time talking WNBA. How's that working out for them?
Well, Bo said, hey, we have synchronized swimming.
Yeah.
Let's go. I mean, is that a sarcastic text, Bo?
Did you know that there can be one person doing synchronized swimming? We brought that up. That is actually an Olympic sport. Solo synchronized swimming.
That kind of that's oxymoron,
it is,
right?
It is, but I don't know what you're synchronizing to the music. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe you and I are thinking of it like you're synchronized with the other swimmers in the pool. See, look at let's do it together.
What is this?
We're just
butterfly
doing the motions.
You're a dancer now.
I was going to see if you would synchronize with me.
Oh, well, I didn't know if we were going exotic dancing or synchronized swimming there for a minute.
Well, I would have to stand up out of our chair and take our headphones off for that one. There's too much booty bouncing if we did that. Okay.
By the way, Bobby said
one. Yeah, one. See, it's proof. It's proof. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. Even with all of the outbreak in popularity of this sport, it's a one.
That's mind-boggling. Not to park on this, but like we are literally seeing the climax. Maybe it just proves that people care about college sports more because people watched college women's basketball. I cared more about the women's championship, Diesel, than I did the men's championship.
Yeah.
However, it's now that those players in the WNBA, I'm not watching.
Yeah, why do I need to watch the women's tournament next year now that all the biggest stars are not in the game anymore? Let's just extend the college eligibility forever for star players and just let them play till they're 30 if they want to.
I'll be honest with you. I think a lot of it has to do with meaningful basketball. Like people watch Iowa, LSU, South Carolina down the stretch because it's great talent, Diesel, and it's meaningful basketball. Right now, if I watch the Indiana Fever tonight, is it meaningful basketball? Like, what's on the line? There's way too many. That's what I'm saying. Like, what's the draw? They're great athletes. I get that, but it's bad, man.
They're great athletes, but to the untrained eye, to the average Joe viewer, it just looks like lesser basketball, right?
So here's something interesting. I've been hearing a lot about this lately. Texter from the 304 says, just started playing pickleball a month ago and I'm hooked. Pro pickleball is fun to watch as well.
So Texter, give us a sense. What are the nuances of pickleball that make it worth watching on TV?
Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying. Or
is it the fact that stars who got good and famous at other sports are now playing pickleball and you're watching for the celebrity aspect?
Could be.
Not so much. And I'm sure it's great pickleball, right? They're good athletes.
Have you ever played?
No, I never played.
It's fast. It's fascinating right now. That sport. All my friends are. I'm the only person not playing pickleball right now.
I play wiffle ball. I suck at tennis, so I played ping pong, and it seems like a combo of the two. Right?
Everybody I'm talking to is playing it though.
It's human-sized ping pong. Okay, so on top of that, so you guys clearly don't care about the WNBA. How much do you really care? And I'm genuinely asking here. Okay, I'm trying to gauge your interest. 1 to 10, text in 71307. Mid-season Major League Baseball. We got the All-Star game coming up in mid-July. But outside of that, I'm not asking you if you're interested in the All-Star game.
Okay.
I'm talking about summertime baseball. I'm talking now through the end of September.
Yeah.
Before the Major League Baseball playoffs start. 1 to 10, how interested are you in it, and how interested are you in hearing us talk about it?
While the Tolos get their text from the 867, texter says, slightly more interested in WNBA because of Clark, but can get all the coverage I need from a 2-minute TikTok. Ooh. Which is that not like where we are in the world?
That's true.
That is a good text.
That's true. I mean,
good text.
That is a fantastic text. Okay. Major League Baseball midseason 1 to 10. How into that are you? Okay. Coming up in golf, Cole. Golf. We have a lot of Tolos who claim that they're really into golf. Scotty Scheffler is a fantastic story right now. We were big into talking Bryson DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, all the chaos that happened up at Valhalla. You got three majors, 3 more to go over the course of the summer. There's the Open Championship in Scotland this year. That's coming up in mid-July.
Yep.
You got the Tour Championship played just down the road in Atlanta, August 29th. Oh, God, imagine being out there wearing pants, playing golf in Atlanta.
That's wonderful.
At the end of
Is it
August.
indoors? Is it Mercedes-Benz?
Have you watched any videos of guys playing golf in the Middle East? Like they're really trying to blow that sport up over there, and they're playing golf at night. So they've got these huge courses. They've spent, a ton of money sprouting grass out of the desert, right?
That seems like an oxymoron too.
Right. But they can't play in the daytime because it's like 500 degrees out
I'll
there.
tell you this.
So they play golf at night. They just put up a lot of lights.
Well, I like that.
Yeah.
Then this is the Middle East.
Yeah, they do it in like Saudi Arabia.
So you can see like
UAE.
the flares of bombs going by while you're playing.
Exactly. You see the tracers going through the air. Oh, is that my golf ball? No, that's a tracer. Somebody's shooting down a plane.
To get bombed. The only videos that I've watched on golf in foreign countries are in Africa. Have you seen these?
No.
So like it's a trend on TikTok that I've been watching. These golfers will be playing these golf courses in Africa, and the guy will be putting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll look over, and there's two freaking walruses just fighting each other. I mean, huge, big old animals. And it's like, man, you talk about a distraction. So, no, I mean, to answer your question on the golf, however, if I have to pick something in the summertime that I'm interested in, yeah, I'm interested. I'm going to watch the Open. I'm going to watch this weekend. I'm finding myself more involved in golf because of guys like Scotty Scheffler and Rory being competitive helps. But I think golf would probably be a little higher than most people think.
So you're saying golf in Africa is basically like going to Myrtle Beach and playing Jungle Lagoon mini golf?
It is. It really is. It's very similar.
You got to dodge a lion.
Yep.
You don't use a putter. You swing a snake.
Strippers.
What?
You have to dodge stripper. Myrtle Beach. So you said Myrtle Beach.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about Dirty Myrtle here, aren't we?
Yeah, you're not trying to make it through the clown's mouth. I can promise you that. Okay, so you got the Tour Championship in Atlanta in August, the President's Cup in Quebec, Canada in September, and that ends the major season for golf. So, golf has figured it out. They stopped playing the majors right as college football is starting.
Pretty weather.
There's a couple little tournaments here and there, but for the most part, golf is done.
Well, the majors are right in that
September.
spring, summer.
Yeah.
I love it.
So how into that are you? 1 to 10, 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. Here's one that I think a lot of Tolos are going to say they're interested in, but Cole, we don't really get a whole lot of text and chatter on this. NASCAR.
Yeah, we talk about it once a week.
NASCAR over the summer. We talk about it once a week. And as you know, we're covering more NASCAR on this show than I think has been covered in this day part on this station in a very, very long time. However, even with that increased coverage, no one ever texts in, hey, did you see what happened here? Hey,
no.
Unless somebody's throwing punches, nobody's texting in to talk about NASCAR.
We get a few texts during the Shane Connick interview, and that's about it. So I think NASCAR is a niche. Like, I think it's a niche sport where the people who watch, like, I'd say that there's a small percentage of our listeners, like 20 and under, that actually watch week in and week out.
So the regular season goes, I think the NASCAR season is way too long. Regular season runs through September 1st. Then the playoffs start, and they run through November 10th.
Yeah, I like that. I like it the length it is.
2 to 3 months, and they're back to Daytona.
Yeah.
I think it's too much. I think it's way too much NASCAR. I mean,
they're not doing anything. They're just sitting in a car.
Yeah, they're just turning left. It's no big deal. Especially once it starts cooling off, man. Then it's just like going out for a Sunday drive.
That's all it is. Wolverine Joe says, how about women's beach volleyball, Joe? I'm in, baby. I'm in. What channel? I'm in.
I don't think that they have any way to statistically rate jiggle in that sport. So that's when it gets hard, man. It's when it gets hard.
Literally.
Digs, spikes, and jiggle. Okay, tennis next. I know you guys don't give a rip about tennis, but there are some majors coming up. Wimbledon, the Olympics, the U.S. Open. But you guys don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, you genuinely don't care. Unless there's a hot girl who's really good at tennis, y'all don't care. And it's true. And then, of course, Cole, closing things out. This summer, we got the Olympics, July 26th through August 11th. America is going out there to assert its dominance. We're going to be talking about it.
Hot take.
Yeah?
People don't care about the Olympics.
Really? Tolos, are you going to let that stand? Tolos, 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. Do you care about the Olympics? Just text in Olympics, yes or no.
I'll tell you this.
Care, yes or no?
I don't. And
Ugh.
call me un-American. Like I get it. I've been told before, you're crazy. You have to watch. It's America. I'm sorry. I know it might get pushback. I do not care about the Olympics.
What's funny is in the Olympics, all we care about are the sports we already care about being played in the Olympics, right? Like we watch Olympic men's basketball because it's our stars playing international basketball for America.
That's true.
We don't care about, to be fair, we don't care about women's international basketball because we don't know who any of them are. We don't care about the WNBA, so why should we care about WNBA all-star teams playing Uzbekistan?
Jacob on the stream says Olympics, all caps, no.
Ouch. I'm
telling you, I think more people are against it that don't want to admit it because they think they sound un-American. Don't be afraid, just admit it like I did.
Look, you can watch it and say, wow, what an incredible feat of athleticism.
Yeah.
But how do you analyze archery when they have this
they
massive,
have archery?
Yeah, they have this have you ever watched Olympic archery? I have. They shoot these things. You're an archer, so maybe you should be more into it. But what they're shooting looks nothing like an actual hunting bow or anything. They shoot this thing and it's got this huge long counterweight on the end of it. So they fire their shot and they just let the thing go and it just drops down to the ground.
They don't do flaming arrows or anything?
If they did, it would be so much cooler.
Apples
right?
on the head.
Like the Olympics has a marketing problem, right? They have none of what you watch.
No, it does. I agree.
You watch 10 heats of the 100 meters and then you watch the finals. It's like, oh, that one's done. Okay, now we got 150 and 200 and 500 and 1,000 and 10,000. Oh, and then we're going to do the hurdles, and then we're going to do that at 100 meters, and we're going to do that at 200 meters. There's too much of it.
I'll tell you this. You're right, though, in terms of marketing. I can't tell you right now when the Olympics even start. I can't tell you. And I host a sports radio show.
I just told you, July 26th.
Yeah, but if you would have told me, I'd have said sometime in July, maybe.
Truth, we only care about the medal count. That's for most Americans.
Bragging
all
rights.
We care is that we're beating other countries. We don't even watch the sports for which they're earning the medals. We just care how many medals.
Well, that's true.
They've won.
Yeah.
So, and then of course, then we're back to football. High school football starts in the upstate August 23rd. College football,
thank God,
starts on the 24th. We actually have a good game on August 24th. Florida State, Georgia Tech. NFL preseason starts on the 1st, and then the regular season starts on September 5th. It's, people in the upstate, it's football, a tiny little bit of baseball, a tiny little bit of NBA, a tiny little bit of everything else. Food.
We're going to talk a lot of food
hey,
this
can we
summer.
talk more football again, right?
That's what we're going to talk this summer. Food and football, the two Fs.
What's the best finger food to have for your football tailgate?
There you go. We'll get more interaction from that than any other sport in the summer, I promise. I promise. All right, coming up next, Najee Thompson, former Bowling Springs Bulldog, former Georgia Southern Eagle, and current Minnesota Viking safety. We'll talk to Najee next. It is Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. This is the Fan Upstate. So glad to be with you on this Thursday edition of Wire to Wire as we bring in Minnesota Vikings safety and special teams ace Najee Thompson. Najee, so excited to have you on, brother. And I said safety, not corner, because I'll start with that. Just recently announced the Vikings have moved you to safety. Talk about that. What's up, man?
The biggest thing in that, like we said, the league is about a numbers game. So we went and got, brought in some great corners this year. Kyrie from Oregon, and then Dwight, he played at LSU some. So bringing in two, corners that helps our room, and we're pretty deep at corner anyway. And then with our safety room, Harrison still has a few more years left in him, but that's just it's more building for the future. Just be able to sit around and learn from him, Josh Metellus, Cam Bynum, and me just also learning from, like the Jay Ward. He's had a year of experience already at it. So also just learn from him. And so just, sitting back and be able to learn from that while still be able to excel on special teams is just going to help the team either this year or in the future, however that might come. And then, like I said, I played safety before, like in the high school and everything. And it was just being able to retain information, quickly and learn it. And I was in the room last year and I was able to, just pick up on small things and learn that. So that was just it's more of a numbers game and also just helping me excel at what I do. Also, on special teams is also what you do at safety as far as covering ground, having to, be able to decel, excel, tackle in open space. So that's another thing I want to be able to take my game to the next level is tackling open space. So they seen that, and so they're like, okay, safety is another great move. And then, just a numbers game also.
Najee Thompson joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, the first NFL player to join us on Wire to Wire. So you get that distinction. Add that to your resume and your Wikipedia page. I want to know, Najee. I know that you play corner, you play safety, you're playing a lot of special teams at the moment for the Vikings. Is the pressure to be perfect on special teams play so much more intense because you get fewer opportunities during every game, or do your coaches kind of allow you to go out and make mistakes or just play free?
Honestly, this started back when I first got down to Georgia Southern. Coming out of high school, be able to be the guy at the school and everything. Going into college, you sometimes don't get that availability to be the guy. So I came in, I was at safety, really didn't have the footwork and everything. So then I just kind of moved around to receiver. We were triple option at the time, so it was like, so it's just me. I just went and found something. So I went and found a knack. So I went and found the special teams knack. I was able to, work at it in practice, block punts and stuff. So then Coach Chad Lunsford, who's assistant head coach at FAU now, he was just throwing me around different spots, and I was just able to excel at different spots. So I don't see it as pressure at all now, because I've been doing special teams for a very, very long time, and I have so many reps at it. But for me, the limited plays, I never look at it as limited. Like it's just you got that one time to go make a play, and if you don't, you never know when the opportunity's coming again. So for me, it's I go out there to excel at it every time, and that's what You can like really just pull the tape up and really like my career started off really slow. My first 8 weeks in the league were slowest I probably had in my career. And it came down to be like possible we might need to make a change here because like what we thought isn't getting it done. And so when I go into the Atlanta Falcons game, it was I got to make some plays, or in time in Minnesota really could be done. That's just the business. And I mean, I understand that. So at that point in time, it wasn't really pressure. It was like, okay, I got to get this done, because it wasn't like I can't make the plays. It was just my timing aspects off. I don't know why it's off. Like, I'm looking at the film, like, what's happening here? And so I was able to get it figured out, after that, and just be able to stack back-to-back games together and stuff like that. Um, I don't really call it pressure. It's just, you got to go execute. You're probably gonna get 10, 15 on a high end, 20 plays a game. And like I said, I'm okay with that, and I love that. And like I said, for me, the role, I just want to build my role more and more. I never like For me, I never want to put too much on the plate to where you're just doing this and that. I'm a type of guy that I'm gonna find something, I'm gonna excel at it, and then we're just gonna stack from there as far as building a resume.
I love that answer, Najee. Najee Thompson joining us on Wire to Wire. Listen, second year coming up in the NFL, last year as a rookie. What do you use to allow you to have a chip on your shoulder? Obviously, you don't have that big contract yet that we're all hoping you get one day, but as someone who's still trying to prove themselves in the league, what do you use every day as a chip on your shoulder?
It's funny. So honestly, I use the outside noise as a chip, because it's the everyday or every other thing. Like, something pops up. Oh, he can't do this. He can't do that. Some players might, oh, he's not good at this. He's not good at that. And it's like, for me, I know what my resume holds. I know what I've been able to do. I'm able to do both sides of the ball. Even, I mean, at a high level, no matter what level I was playing at, I was able to do it. I can do it. So it's just funny. Like, I don't have to show it all the time. That's the thing. That's the difference. Some guys have to show it every day to make guys believe, oh, he has to do it. I personally, I worry about myself, like what others say about me, how they feel about me. Hats off to them. I never have cared. I never will care. I use that as fuel, though. Like, I'll sit and listen to it, and it's like, oh, he can't do it. I'll go show him a splash. Like, okay, here you go. I can't do it. Come up with something new. And so that's what I use, just to go every day. And it's like, now a lot of guys think I can't do certain stuff, so I'm gonna put a lot of stuff on tape this year just to prove to them, like, I have it in my bag. I just don't have to use it, because in this situation, I don't feel like it's needed to be used.
He played at Bowling Springs. He played at Georgia Southern, entering his second season in the NFL. You see that Vikings logo right there on his chest. Najee, we are in an era of unprecedented access, right? People get more access to the individual players through their social media. We get more access through teams and the videos that they post, and all the different shows that go behind the scenes in the NFL. What, after one full season, what don't most fans know about the day-to-day, the grind of playing in the NFL?
A lot of people don't. A lot of people think we probably spend more time on the field than anything. We spend half our day in the meeting rooms, and just going over plays, and we still have the wait times that we do like every day. Really, what fans don't really understand, as when you see an NFL player and they might not perform to your standings, it's not that they suck at all. Nobody in this league sucks. There's just different levels to the league thing. And it takes players sometime a lot longer to learn and perform than others. And also, you might not be in the best system. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. This whole league thing is about different systems. That's why you hear a West Coast. That's why you hear a balance or a pro style. And even on defense, you have a 4-3, 3-4. And even with us, like, we have a bunch of different defenses that not everybody can play in. So it's just like, with fans, they probably don't understand how much a person actually puts into being in the league. Because we might have 12, 14-hour days, and then it's like, boom, that's cool, that's what's required for you. But for me, I need to go get the scouting report again. And okay, I'm coming home. I'm gonna pull this guy up on TV and find some different knacks, not only for me, for the next guy that might get reps that might not watch the film, and that's okay. But everybody needs a leader, or everybody needs that teacher to tell them this or that, because I don't only want myself to exceed, because I don't ever exceed without somebody else. Like those plays that you might see me make, somebody else is helping make those plays. Yeah, I had the one-on-one outside, cool, but my coach gave me the scout report and is like, okay, these are some tips. His leader, showed him something to tell me. So it's just with the league, it's just like a lot of stepping stones that that people don't understand. Everybody sees the individual performance, but they don't understand like the guy punting the ball, great guys. The guy snapping the ball. It's just a team execution that I don't think really everybody pays attention to, because it doesn't ever show up in the box score. And so that's the big thing that fans don't understand, like the preparation into it.
We're talking to Najee Thompson, former Georgia Southern Eagle and former Bowling Springs Bulldog from right here in the upstate. Hey, Najee, you guys drafted J.J. McCarthy. I know training camp hasn't started yet, but last year, a lot of quarterback carousel at times for you guys. Toward the end of the season, it seemed like there was some momentum at that position. What's it been like being on the same team, even though it's just been for a few months with the former national championship or the former national champion for Michigan?
Around this time of the year, it's all about building relationships. That's what this time's about. When the guy comes in, when he came in, it was just he's a great guy. I mean, down to earth. He fits into the culture, however it is. Like he fits in everywhere. But around this time of the year, we go into OTAs. Yeah, it's about getting plays in. Like that's just football. We know that's coming, but while we have time off, we're gonna go out to eat here. We're gonna go bowling here. It's just building relationships for this time, because we know when we come back in July, it is grind time. It is long days. It is many hours. It is wear and tear. And it is everybody trying to go make a 53-man roster.
Yeah.
We have 90 people on the roster. We all know that only 53 can make it, and 16 goes on a practice squad. And so we know right now that we're going to enjoy each other, and we're still going to enjoy each other in camp. Don't ever get that wrong. But it's more of a, I got to feed my family. You got to feed your family. Kind of don't care what it takes. We're going to take care of each other. We're not going to go hurt each other like that, but we're going to compete, and it's made the best man win.
Najee, tell me about that first winter there in Minnesota. I mean, a guy from South Carolina who spent his college days in South Georgia. Man, Minneapolis must have been rough that first time around.
Well, it's funny because if you hear it from me, I'm gonna be like, it was -8. It sucked. It was cold. I kind of got used to it. It wasn't really just killing me. I'd wake up, the roads are clear. I'd go to sleep, wake up the next day. Man, it is inches of snow on the ground. I'm like, what just happened? But if you ask anybody else, this might be the best winter they've ever had, and they were actually happy about that. And so I just like, yeah, no, like South Carolina, we're getting an inch, we're shutting everything down, we're good. Here, it rolls like normal. They're clearing roads at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. When you get back it up next morning, they are spotless.
Najee, listen, we hear a lot of times, man, that players' biggest jump is made from year one to year two. Is that true for you? And if so, how?
Well, it's a blessing and a curse between year one and year two. Either a player jumps or a player fails. And for me, I think it's going to be a major jump, just because I understand what's expected now. I know what teams are going to bring to the table. I see our schedule. We have, again, some of the best special teams players that I'm going to play against, some of the best special team coaches and teams that I'm going to play against. And I know what's expected. So I know for me, I can't bring to the table what I brought last year. It has to only go a step higher. And I have to try different stuff because it's on tape. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. That's fine. So now I'm going to add something different to the game that's going to throw you off, to where now you're not going up there knowing, oh, he only can do this. So now for me, the year two jump is going to be big for me, just because I'm going to have to put new stuff on tape that I want to put on tape that I've been working out already this offseason. And for me, I'm ready for that jump. So for me, I think this year two is going to be a big jump. And also I'll look at it as, when we talk about contract stuff, so it's like year two going into year three, like this really is my contract time, because I want to use these first 2 years as, okay, we come to the table. This is what this is. This is how I stacked up against the league, against the highest paid special teams players. Because it's not like I'm just playing special teams. Like I'm playing the highest paid special teams players out there in the league, the top 3 coaches in the league, how they present it. So like that's why these first 2 years are big for me, because I'm getting the best of the best off the rip.
Najee Thompson, former Boiling Spring Bulldog, now playing with the Minnesota Vikings. Speaking of that jump, Najee, can you point to anything that you really picked up or learned from watching veteran players on your team, or even players from opposing teams on that sideline, that you've been able to incorporate into your game, whether it's the little things like technique or footwork, or even the way they carry themselves on the field?
I say the biggest thing, for me, I always have just try to come up with things of my own game. Like I look at other guys and how they do certain stuff. I'm just usually not a fan of doing certain stuff because I've always built my life off speed. A lot of guys don't ever build their life off speed, but I say just their savviness of how they do certain stuff and how they carry their stuff around. Like they do all these camps and stuff like that. Just build with the community, because sometimes that can save your job. Just building with the community and then going to make plays, because all that is just money, money, money. They feed in, you help them, they help you. You never know who you're gonna run into, and that's just kind of what I build my day-to-day life off of. And so I just look at like certain players around the league. Like I base myself like with Matthew Slater. He did his whole career special teams. I would love that. And other guys would like for me to go do defense stuff. I'm fine and open to doing defense. I'm not totally shutting it off. But for me, I found a knack with special teams, and I found a passion and love for it. So I'm gonna stick to that passion and love. And it's like, oh, you're missing out on millions, blah blah. Yeah, you missed out on the football side of things, but there's still a business side of thing in the world with football that I can explore in, that I'm fine with taking that risk. I've always been a risk taker. I didn't get to where I was today without being a risk taker, and I'll never stop being a risk taker. And that's just who I am as a person.
Man, I love that, Najee. I'll tell you this before we let you go. My favorite memory this past year, well, 2 of them, getting to see you play in Carolina was awesome. And then the second one was the Green Bay game when you're down like 27 points, 4th quarter, late in the game. And, a lot of people pack it in at that time, but a special teams, I believe it was a punt. And you forced the fumble, grabbed the ball. Man, I was just like screaming like a little kid. But, look, we appreciate you hopping on with us. Anytime you want to come back home, just on the radio here in Spartanburg and Greenville, we'll let you anytime you want to.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make a trip back here soon on this break, and I'll hit you up and let you know when I'm back.
Absolutely.
Najee, I do want to ask you one more question. As a risk taker, I want to know: how many showers did you have to take after swimming in beautiful Eagle Creek there in Statesboro?
Well,
as a rival App State Mountaineer alum, I just want to know how dirty that water actually is.
It is pretty dirty. I got in there one time, as a senior thing. I didn't go no further than like waist deep. You do have some guys that actually get in there and go full body splurge. But Eagle Creek is a very, very beautiful thing to go see. If you ever get a chance to go out there, Coach Helton and Jared Binko, Chris Davis, all those guys, they're all open to the community, fans, everything. Georgia Southern, like I tell kids, don't ever focus on going to these big schools. If you can play ball, they're gonna find you, and that's just as simple as it gets. And that's what a lot of kids just don't understand nowadays, that they want to go to, let me go to this big school. That's cool, but guess what? There's a lot of kids right now to this day went to these big schools and they transferred about 5 times. They transfer every year because the grass isn't always green on the other side. And the biggest thing is just loyalty. I could have left Georgia Southern plenty of times. I had honestly thought about it, because just going through that process wasn't my style, because I've never been on the back burner sometime. But my thing was, I stayed loyal, and I was like, I want to play it out here, and I love it there just like I love it here. But like I say, in Eagle Creek, it separates boy from men. I can tell you that much.
Najee, you're the best, man. Appreciate you hopping on with us, and can't wait to catch up with you soon, brother.
Most definitely.
Thank you, man. That's Najee Thompson, current Minnesota Viking. He'll be going into his second season, and I saw a lot of reports that, there's a good chance that he does make the roster. Diesel, we've talked about it a lot. When you're new in the league, you're fighting every day for that contract like he talked about.
And I love what he had to say there. They will find you.
Yes.
If you have talent, go someplace where you can show off that talent, and the league will find you. There are more scouts than ever, Cole. They're like used car salesmen.
Yeah.
They are everywhere. Go somewhere where you can show your talents and stay loyal.
Man, that was incredible.
I loved it.
That was incredible.
Fantastic answer.
And listen, if he doesn't, if football doesn't work out, I think broadcasting might be in his future. I mean, you talk to a lot of pro athletes, man, and it's just, short answers, not enthusiastic. No, Najee's not that guy. He's phenomenal. We appreciate him joining us. All right, on the very other side, the other side of this break, I want to ask a question, Diesel, related to golf, a sport we talked about just a minute ago, one of those summer sports, but it's about the son of a golfer and the expectations. I have a question for you next. We appreciate Najee Thompson joining us right here on Wire to Wire. Fantastic interview, man. That was just something that we'll cherish for a long time. First NFL player to join us right here on this show, as Diesel pointed out. But I do have a question for you, Diesel, as well as our Tolos.
Are we tailgating for flag football over the summer? Is that
Well,
what
we
you're asking me?
can if you want to. I know that's a riveting sport that you would probably like to talk about.
Hey, if it's good enough for ESPN, the 4-letter, it's good enough for us.
Well, flag
running
football,
promos.
we can play flag football, but I want to get to this because I was reading this article earlier, Diesel, about Charlie Woods, who qualified for his first USGA event, right? At 15 years old. He played really well. He qualified for his first U.S. junior event at the age of 14. So I asked this question in this short segment. Is there an athlete that you can think of, and specifically golfer here, that has more expectations on his career at a young age? And if you want to just go broaden the subject and not just talk about golfer, but athletes in general. Because when I asked myself this question, I found myself struggling big time at finding an athlete, especially a golfer, that has as high expectations, maybe unrealistic expectations, as Charlie Woods.
I mean, Charlie Woods is the Bronny James of golf.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, imagine if Michael Jordan's son had come up and played college basketball in the ACC and was eventually going to make his way into the NBA. I don't even know. Does Michael Jordan even have a son?
They say Jimmy Butler. I don't know if that's true or not.
I mean, the only thing that I can compare it to is Bronny James. I mean, how much expectation has been on him over the years, and how long have we already been talking about LeBron saying, "I'm going to play up until and through my son gets into the NBA. I want to play a season with him." And so the pressure is on him to even be an NBA pick, right? To be an NBA caliber player. And then, of course, he had to deal with his own health issues. But Charlie Woods clearly inherited an awful lot of talent.
I wouldn't have played
from
golf,
his dad.
though, if I was him.
Really?
No.
So
maybe casually.
Another way to compare this, Cole, and if we happen to have any U.S. Marines in our listening audience, you're going to know who I'm talking about here. I've got a friend of mine who lives here in Greenville, who is related to probably the most famous U.S. Marine to ever wear the uniform.
How about that?
And he had to debate. He had to decide, do I want to go in? He did join the military. He had to decide, do I want to follow in the footsteps? He didn't have the same last name.
Oh, that helps.
So he decided, he's like, do I want to be a Marine? Where if once people find out that I am related to this individual, the expectations on me are going to change drastically, or the treatment that I'm going to receive is going to change drastically. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, it's scary. Like when you think about the expectations, and maybe not right now, but the expectations that Charlie Woods will have 3 to 6 years from now, because remember, his dad was doing it at a young age, right? Mm-hmm. And the expectations, man, that he's going to have in the next 5 years, it's going to be scary. Really, really scary.
It is scary, the attention and scrutiny and expectation we put on young players. I mean, look at what we've done to Caitlin Clark and the way we've treated Caitlin Clark. Some of it is good. Some of it is bad. Some of it gets to these players. And, you know, at least with Charlie Woods, he's got his dad who dealt with all of this already.
Plenty of scrutiny.
Who literally set the bar for being a pro golfer. So he's got somebody he can bounce things off of course, to deal with, to talk about dealing with this, because he's going to get a ridiculous amount of offers to endorse products just because of who his dad is, not even based on his ability as a golfer. I mean, look, I want Charlie Woods to go out and be happy and hopefully make a professional living playing golf.
JD wants to chime in, 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. The renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone. JD, do you think there's an athlete that has more expectation than Charlie Woods?
Thank you gentlemen, for taking my call, as always. Y'all got me here. I had to get in on this one. So to me, I've already kind of placed some unfair expectations on Charlie Woods just because I've seen the videos of him playing golf, And hey, he might be the next coming of Tiger Woods. And so, yeah, that is a very, very high expectation to place on these kids. Diesel, I did have one question for you, though, real quick. Was that Marine you were talking about? Was he related to Jack Nicklaus from A Few Good Men? Was that the Marine that he
You
was
can't
related
handle the truth.
to? So obviously you wanted to disengage from that one. But no, man, I had to disagree, though, too. Bronny James, there were some unfair expectations placed on him, but I don't think that they compare to what the expectations that are going to be placed on Charlie Woods are. Because, I mean, you see him coming up. He's already been the youngest, like you mentioned, at 14-year-old, to qualify. And now here he is again at 15 to qualify. And as a matter of fact, I did notice that the player who came in second is from the same town as Charlie Woods. I forget his name. I forget the name of their, where they're from. And so I'm curious if him and Charlie Woods are on a team. And so it also makes me wonder if that guy who came in second might end up being a better golfer in his pro career than Charlie. But, man, yeah, it's so crazy the expectations we place on these people, and very rarely do they ever live up to our expectations. Y'all have a good one. Thank you for taking our call.
Thanks, JD. It's renewal by Anderson, the Carolinas fan phone, 844-326-3663. Phone lines will be open in the next segment as well if you want to get your thoughts in. But
it's not like young kids qualifying and making PGA events is a new thing, right? It happens. You got players qualifying at 14, 15, 16 years old fairly regularly.
But the magnitude
on it, yeah, I mean,
scary.
And especially when you compare that to the videos that JD brought up there, when you watch their swings, they're nearly identical. Now, clearly he's got the best golfer in the world to teach him technique.
Sure.
But you still have to go out and be able to execute it on your own, right?
Yeah.
So when we come back, it is time for you and I to fight it out. We do this every single day. The 5 o'clock fight comes up next here on the Fan Upstate. 2 men enter, 1 diesel leaves. It's the 5 o'clock fight each and every day here at 5 o'clock on the Fan Upstate. Cole Bryson and I fight about it.
See what you did there.
Yeah. It's the most interactive segment we do each and every day on this show. It's because you, the Tolos, you always step up. You know, we can always count on you in the 5 o'clock fight to tell us who's right and who's wrong. Let's go ahead and get this thing started. Man, this round 1 fight is a rude reminder that today is Thursday and not Monday.
It feels like a Monday.
Having the day off yesterday, it felt like a nice reset, but we're back here, and it felt like a Monday. It's not, though. Travelers Championship is happening. It's live.
Can we get every Monday off, by the way? Every Wednesday.
Nice.
Sorry.
That would be nice. 2 on, 1 off, 2 on, 2 off. Please.
Firefighter schedule. Right?
Yeah, right. The question, Cole, is will Scotty Scheffler continue his slump, or will he bounce back at the Travelers?
Well, here's where you messed up. You told me during the break that he eagled on a hole, which I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
So let me define the question. When I say slump, I mean that Sunday, the 4th round, he's not in the final hunt, right?
So you're going with the Ricky Bobby scoring system. If you ain't first, you're last.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you ain't first, you're last. That's true. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say he continues to slump a little bit. I know he played well today, but I don't think he will be in the final conversation on Sunday, Diesel.
So this tournament, same exact course every year. It's the TPC River Highlands course. Scotty Scheffler has torn this course apart over the past couple of years. You said he's going to continue his slump. Listen to this.
Don't leave me wrong.
2022, Cole. He finished 13th overall with a -10. That was really before Scotty Scheffler became Scotty Scheffler, right?
Sure.
Last year, 19 under, 4th overall. Oh, God. This year, so far through 18, he is -5, 6th overall. He eagled the par 5 13th. He should be at -6, but he 2-putted a par 5 on the front 9. He has 4 birdies and a bogey, the one that I mentioned there. He is on pace, Cole, for a -20, for a 20 under.
You're not supposed to tell me this.
This is one of those courses, Cole, that like if you want to see these guys just go out and demolish a golf course, this is the one you watch, right? They are crushing it, this course, and the leaders typically finish in that -20 range.
So I guess you're not going slump then.
No, I'm not going slump. I think Scotty Scheffler is probably going to finish inside the top 5 in this tournament. I mean, it's hard to say through only 18 holes, but I think Scotty Scheffler is going to be just fine this weekend. He always plays really well at this course, -10, -19, and now through 18 holes, one day he is -5.
Well, I hope he drops off. I hope he forgets his club tomorrow. Yeah, because I don't want to be wrong and look like an idiot on Sunday.
So you're going to be paying off security guards down there?
Yeah, absolutely. Whatever it takes, man.
Yeah, I think Scotty's going to be just fine. He's going to bounce back. And to me, bouncing back means finishing inside the top 5. Round 2, let's hit it. Cole, when you are done with a loaf of bread, like you've gotten your slices of bread out, you gotten your bagel out of the bag, do you always put the twisty thing back on it, or do you spin the loaf and tuck the flap under?
I'll tell you, I do not know if I own a twisty thing. I'm serious. I don't know if I even have
Really?
What are they called? I know
The twist tie.
The twist tie.
The swizzle stick.
Okay.
I mean, it comes with the bag.
I know, but
how do you lose it every time?
I probably throw it away and just lose it. And I'm sure I throw it away. I'm sure I do, because I know it's a bad habit, but I just twist it up a little bit, fold it up, stick it under the bread. I don't buy bread a lot, so I don't do it a lot, but just right back on the counter, tucked under, no tie.
Oh, come on, man. I see, like I've noticed as I'm getting a little bit older that some of my corks start coming out. I have to put that thing back on the bag. I have to keep it. Like, I hate the twisty tie. I like the little square one with the little notch cut out of it. That one's better. That one's easier to deal with.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But But so the twisty tie always has to go back on the bag. The chip bag has to be folded up in the way that will best keep it airtight. Because a lot of people, they'll just do the one fold over and your chips get stale unless you eat your bag of chips really fast. I think how you do one of those things is probably how you do all of those things.
Sure.
And I always have to put the twisty tie back on. I always have to. See, I do like 2 dog ears on a bag of chips. I do 2 dog ears and then like multiple folds over to keep the
So you're too fancy with it.
out.
You're too bougie.
Yeah.
71307. Let us know who wins that one. And Diesel's, I'm learning more and more that Diesel's more bougie than he admits.
That's 2. If you're on the fence, we got 1 more to go. Pineapple on pizza. Do you love it or do you hate it?
So you have to like pineapple in order to like it on pizza, right?
I do like pineapple.
I hate pineapple. Absolutely hate the taste of pineapple. I don't like eating it. I do not want a pineapple anywhere near my pizza. That is the most un-American thing I've ever heard in my life. I don't know if you people think you're in Hawaii or something, but pineapple and pizza should never go together.
You do know that Hawaii is in America, right?
Well, not really. I don't count it.
I mean, it is.
No, I don't count
it. Is very, very much in 100% is.
It's not attached. Screw them.
No, man. Like, I don't eat it very often, but when somebody brings a good Hawaiian pizza to an event, it's usually a ham pizza
with pineapple.
It's gotta be the thin sliced ham that kind of curls up and crisps a little bit. Then you add that pineapple to it, man. It just adds an extra little kick. It's not my go-to, but I like it.
But you'll eat it.
I will absolutely eat it. So what do you say? 71307. Start your text with keyword fan. Who won each round of the 5 o'clock fight? So to quickly recap round 1 of the 5 o'clock fight, the Travelers Championship is this weekend. Will Scotty Scheffler continue his slump, which he's been on since being arrested in Kentucky, or will he bounce back? I say that he bounces back because he always plays very well at this course, the TPC River Highlands. Cole is a pessimist, man. He said he's in a slump. Yep. He's not getting out of it this weekend. Again, are you good with that definition of top 5 being slump or not?
I don't hate it. I would probably say top. I mean, if he finished 6th, I'd say he's out of it. But yeah, top 5, 6, somewhere around there.
I mean, you could define it as top 5. You could define it as X number of strokes away from the winner.
No, I say that's probably accurate.
But I say he gets it back on track. Cole says he slumps. Round 2. When you're done with a loaf of bread, you've gotten your bread out. Do you put the twisty thing back on it, or do you turn the bag? You spin it and you tuck the flap under. Cole does that. He says it's a flap.
It never sounds like that for me for whatever reason.
No, it doesn't. No, I do the, and then I put the twisty tie on it. And then I put it in the freezer. Keeps your bread fresh forever.
I heard people do it.
Takes no time at all to toast a frozen piece of bread because it's thin, it's airy, it heats up quickly.
Yeah.
So that's what you got to do. But Cole, I guess he likes to eat his bread stale. What can you do?
I'll pull the curtain back after you recap the 3rd round.
And then round 3, pineapple on pizza. Cole is grossed out and doesn't realize that Hawaii is actually a state in America. I say it's not my favorite thing, but I will definitely have a slice or 2 if that's what is in front of me because I don't discriminate, Cole. I'll say yes to basically any type of pizza.
Listen, if I was like starving to death, would I eat it? Yeah, I'd take the pineapples off and eat it. But I'll say this, Diesel. I'll pull the curtain back on my.
So you're going to flick the pineapple piece.
Absolutely.
Off. So are you okay with the little bit of flavor from the pineapple being on it? You just don't want to eat the fruit?
I'm okay with it, I guess.
Do you eat fruit in general? Or do
No,
you...
I love fruit.
Okay.
I love strawberries. Strawberries are the freaking best, right? Watermelon.
Of course, it is the
cantaloupe. So I'll say this about my, you asked about the bread and the chips.
Yeah.
I'll pull the curtain back on Cole's single life. No kids, you don't, when you're, and you know this because you were single not long ago. When you're single, you don't buy a ton of groceries, right? Like you don't go to the grocery. At least me, I don't know other single people. I don't go to the grocery store, go to Sam's or Costco as much as you love those big places. What am I going to go there for? One person and buy a box of 463 chips, right, and 906 cookies. You don't need all that. I don't go to the grocery store and buy a lot of like common bread, chips, stuff like that. I'm not a snacker. I don't know if I've told you that before, but I don't snack a lot. I'd rather eat a lot at meals to keep me until the next meal. I honestly, right now, if you walked into my house, you wouldn't find many snacks at all.
Now we're going to need a tour of Cole Bryson's fridge. Is it empty?
No, it's, like, there's some fruit right now. There's some fruit. And I guess that's a snack, right? But water, just like it is the definition of a single guy's kitchen, right? Water.
Do you eat out a lot?
I eat out more than I should.
Yeah.
More than I should. I spend
the problem
too much money.
Once you're in a relationship, or especially once you're married, you're not only buying groceries for yourself that you know you're going to eat, but now you got to buy the things that the other person wants to eat as well, because you got different tastes, right? You're two different people. One of you likes cookies, the other one doesn't like cookies. Guess what? We got to buy cookies.
I eat out more now, and people are going to call me redneck. I just ran out of deer meat. I had like 3 in the freezer from this past season. So for the from like December, January, February, March, April, I'll eat every day for lunch. I'll eat deer meat a lot for lunch, but I'm out now. So need hunting season to get back, not to get, down Cole's personal life story here, but I don't buy a lot of groceries. Back to the bread and chips. So I don't use the twist ties a ton, but when I do, I fold it.
All right, let's go to the results. And again, you can get yours to us by texting 71307. Start your text with the keyword fan, or on the comment section on Facebook, on Twitter, or on YouTube. Let's start with Jacob Rogers, who says Diesel goes 3-0.
Jeez, Jacob, what have I done to you, man?
Spur Daddy says Diesel with a clean sweep.
Come on. Texter from the 262 says Scotty won't stay slumped. Twisty tie until the bread gets to be 75% left. Then there's enough bag to flap under the bread, says the texter. And then the pineapple can be on the pizza.
Do you really think that is an airtight method?
What's that?
Like the spin, and then the tuck. It's not airtight.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't care.
You should care, because your bread's going to go stale.
Well, I don't eat. I mean, it's one of those
news
things.
Is once your bread goes a little bit stale, you can make French toast out of it. That's the best kind of French toast.
Stale bread?
Yeah. Not like gross stale, but a little bit
not
stale.
Moldy bread.
Yeah.
Texter 979 says Diesel with the sweep. Now, I do like JC, man. JC is one of my favorite Tolos. JC says Cole takes round 1 and 3. Thank you, JC. I finally got a win today. Last one for now. Bullwinkle chimes in. He says Diesel takes it down 2-1 today.
I think it's because you slandered Scotty Scheffler.
Oh, might be.
That's what it is.
Bullwinkle says Cole round 1, Diesel and his dog ears folding the bag 1 round 2 for me. Round 3, curled ham with pineapple is good stuff.
Yeah.
And then another text just came in, 915. I have to say, Cole gets the sweep.
I am very particular about my pineapple on pizza, though. I only want it on a thin crust pie.
Well, thin crust is the only way you should eat pizza.
It is a great way to eat pizza.
I mean, there's no debate there. We can't put that on the 5 o'clock fight because.
And by thin crust, I'm talking, the box retail chains with like the crispy thin crust. I don't like floppy thin crust. There's some places, and I'm not talking about New York style.
You're right.
That's a different kind of pizza here. Completely different kind of style pizza. But the thin crust, like, it's got to be baked long enough that the bottom gets crispy, and it can it has to be able to stand up on its own, right? You shouldn't have to fold a good thin crust pizza to be able to eat it. It should stand up on its own.
So I agree with you. I like the frozen pizzas that are crispy, right? You put them in the oven, they're crispy. There's no flop. You don't have to fold anything, like the Red Baron or whatever it is. I can't remember exactly what brand. I like the red wrapper is the one I like.
We agree. We are a no flop, no fold kind of show here.
We are. However, I don't think there's anything wrong with the New York style.
I love New York style pizza.
Yeah, I like that. I would just rather not have the flop. I don't want sometimes you get this pizza that has this flop and then everything else becomes a mess and there's grease coming in.
Isn't it weird how the flop is completely contextual? Like, you don't want the flop when it's coming from Pizza Hut or Domino's. You do want the flop when it's coming from the New York style pizza joint, right? Yeah. You need to be able to eat. If I don't have to use 2 hands to eat a New York style slice of pizza, it's not a New York style slice pizza.
Texter from the 850 Diesel says, I started typing out a text saying Cole won, but then he said thin crust is the only good pizza. Cole loses the fight and every other fight forever, says the 850. Now, Diesel also said thin crust. What have I done, Texter?
Yeah, but you said it's the only kind of pizza you like.
I just, like, you eat deep dish?
Yeah.
See, I'm not
like,
a fan.
How deep dish are we talking here? Are we talking like a bucket like they have it in
like Chicago
style? I don't want to eat it out of a bucket.
If you have to eat it with a freaking spatula, it's not pizza. You know?
That's a lasagna.
It's a lasagna. Okay, when you say thick, do you mean like regular chain pizza thick? Like a good deep dish pizza is like it at max, it's like an inch thick, top to bottom. Like Papa John's or Little Caesars, just regular run-of-the-mill pizza. Regular crust, they call it hand-tossed. That's fine. I'll eat it. I don't want anything thicker than that, though. You know the pizza we had here the other day for that party, or whatever somebody left? That thickness is fine. Anything thicker, I don't want anything thicker than that.
Texter says, if you want a good thin crust pizza, okay, now he's doing a little advertising here. We'll do it. I'll be your Huckleberry. If you want a good thin crust pizza, try out Merrill's in Greer.
Never heard of it.
Never heard.
I'll try it out, though.
Let's
I like
go.
good pizza. Russell Glover says, I do not buy loaves of bread. I only buy individual slices, so I don't have the issue you have.
I'm surprised in this country and are wasting too much packaging. I'm surprised we don't individually wrap slices of bread the way we individually wrap slices of cheese.
What do you mean by individual slices of bread? That's a thing? No. I'm being dead serious right now.
Now they make.
Do you know that?
No, that's not a thing, Russell. That's a lie, bro.
Tolos.
They don't make that.
Is that true or not true?
They make like small loaves,
individual
so it doesn't go bad so fast.
Where do you buy an individual slice of bread at? I'll take one slice of bread, please. What are you gonna do? I've never heard of that ever.
Bland says, not gonna lie, New York pizza is overrated. Now, Bland, we used to be friends. We follow each other on Twitter. I thought you were a fine gentleman, but you're out of line, sir. You're out of line saying that New York pizza is overrated.
I like the thin New York stuff.
We said it earlier. It's not the same as a thin crust pizza from a chain store. A New York style pizza, you need to be able to fold it in the middle. It needs to be at least this wide, okay?
It
needs
wide.
To be at least 6 inches wide from end to end on the crust on the slice. You fold that thing over. You use the other hand to support. Just two-hand this thing. I'm not going to do it on camera because it looks like something else, and you Tolos are perverts. But you know what? It's got to be a two-hand affair.
I agree. I will say, though, that the crispy's better. Keith and TR says the more crust, the better, and as little sauce as possible.
So you just like the bread.
Bread. Well, I've told you before that I like the breadsticks better than pizza. Remember that? I mean,
you're wrong for that.
I love breadsticks. I can eat breadsticks as a meal.
But I do like the breadsticks when they're stuffed with the cheese and the pepperonis and the bacons and the good stuff. I'm getting hungry now.
Yeah,
we have an hour and 45 minutes of this show left, or we need to stop talking about pizza.
All right, we will quit talking about pizza. All right, we'll quit doing it. If you want to quit doing it, we'll do it. We're going to talk about Dabo. What Dabo? What? What do you mean, Dabo?
It's the off season. What'd Dabo do?
Josh Pate put out a tweet this morning that I really liked. Okay, the tweet asked what Dabo Swinney's legacy would be today if he never coached another game. I thought that was fascinating. We'll jump into that next. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. This is the Fan Upstate. So I was scrolling through X, formerly Twitter, this morning, and I saw this tweet from Josh Pate.
Are you going to let Elon Musk beat you like that?
I know I'm trying to
Keep
be,
saying Twitter. Keep it alive so when he eventually sells it.
I don't know. I'm
to
torn.
Twitter.
Like I didn't think I'd say this, but I think I'm starting to come around to X now. Don't dump me or anything. Don't dump me. I just think I'm starting to come around to it. So, Josh Pate put out this tweet this morning, and it was actually from a day ago, but I didn't see it till this morning. He asked the question that I ask you and the Tolos. Let's say Dabo retires today, never coaches another game. Not one game, he's done. 2024, nada, he's gone. 2023 was his last season ever. How would you, the Tolos, define his legacy? Text the show 71307. Phone lines also open right now. It's the renewal by Anderson of the Carolinas fan phone, 844-FAN phone. That's 844-326-3663. Diesel, I saw so many different comments after Josh tweeted this.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get your thoughts as well as the thoughts of our audience, but I'll let you go first and then I'll give mine. What do you think his legacy would be if he stopped coaching today?
Well, I think it would depend a little bit on the nature of his exit. Was he fired for a reason? Did he say anything specific as to why he left on his way out the door?
Good question.
I mean, I think that would certainly qualify it a little bit.
Pretend he just disappeared.
He just disappeared.
Vanished.
Okay. I would say, elite head coach in college football, won 2 national championships. One of how many coaches is it to ever win 2 national championships? Joins a small fraternity, leaves in a small fraternity of coaches to win 2 national championships. I wouldn't. This is where the specifics around the exit come into play.
Matter.
Left the sports because he didn't want to adapt to the modern times. But we don't know. I mean, we can't say that as necessarily. So I would just say Dabo Swinney leaves college football, one of the sports elite head coaches, 2-time national champion, put multiple quarterbacks into the NFL. I think he would go down as a great, not probably not on the Mount Rushmore, of course, but he would probably go down in the top 10 to 15 best head coaches in college football of all time.
Okay. I'm not far off from you, and I like the Mount Rushmore reference. I would say Dabo Swinney, if he retired, left, however he left, vanished from the earth, and Diesel never coached another football game, I would say he's first to 5th in line at the bottom of Mount Rushmore looking up.
Okay.
So that would mean there's 4 coaches, right, on the Mount Rushmore of college football coaches ever. I'm talking about in the history of college football, which is mighty freaking impressive, right?
Bear Bryant, Nick Saban.
Bear Nick would be 2, without a doubt, 100%. Yeah. And then obviously there'd be 2 more that could be really debatable. I know I might get pushed back. I might put like a Urban Meyer up there.
Schembechler, you could say, blank on his first name, Hayes, the Ohio State.
Woody Hayes. Yeah. No, the 4 conversation's great, but I think Dabo would be at the bottom of Mount Rushmore. If there's a line of coaches, this is impressive. He's 1 to 5. And if you get upset at that and you say, he should be in the Mount, it's like saying LeBron's the second best player ever. That's really impressive if you're the second best player ever. If Dabo's in line at the bottom of Mount Rushmore in line and he's 1 to 5 to be on Mount Rushmore, Diesel, I think that's very, very impressive. His legacy to me would be an elite head coach that won a lot of games with generational type quarterbacks. When he did not have a generational type quarterback, he was a very good head coach. He was an elite coach with generational quarterbacks. I know that you can say, well, most coaches be that way, and that's true. But without a generational quarterback, he was not an elite coach, in my opinion. Most of the time, he hadn't had that generational quarterback.
Texter here, you're a funny guy. Your funny guy texter says, safe to say Dabo wouldn't quit in the middle of a losing season like another guy down the road.
Ooh, shots fired there by a Clemson fan, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly put on his resume, left his program better than the way he found it.
Oh, without a doubt.
Ushered in an unprecedented era of athletic growth and campus growth at Clemson. You could certainly say things like that. Texter here says Belichick 2.0 did great things with great quarterbacks, hasn't done much without Trevor Lawrence or Deshaun Watson.
That's not a bad comparison.
It's not a bad comparison, Texter, but as Cole just pointed out, isn't that true of almost every coach?
Most coaches it is, right?
Yeah.
Most coaches don't win with an average quarterback.
Especially in the modern era of college football. You basically cannot win without an elite quarterback. I mean, there are few exceptions. I mean, I guess the easy comparison, and maybe I'm thwarting my own opinion here, my own point here. Nick Saban kind of did that. He won a lot of championships with mid-level quarterbacks. I mean, now mid-level for Alabama, right? Not top 3 Heisman Trophy candidate type of quarterbacks. But that's what happens when you have the best at every position around that quarterback. You don't have to have a top 3 or 4 best quarterback in the game.
No, it's a great point, because if you look at the majority of championships that Nick Saban won at Alabama, the quarterback wasn't a generational type. Remember, when I say the word generational type quarterback, like that is 1 in a million. Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson are 1 in a million type quarterbacks, and Clemson got very fortunate to have 2 of them almost back-to-back. Nick Saban, name a generational quarterback he's had. Tua was great. Jalen Hurts is great. I wouldn't call him generational. Deshaun and Trevor, in my opinion, were generational type quarterbacks. And, A.J. McCarron, it wasn't a generational. He wasn't a good quarterback. He was a good to above average quarterback that won national championships. And I'd say that to your point, that's what, in my mind, separates Nick from Dabo, because he's done it. Yeah, he had more talent. Yeah, he was in Alabama, but he's done it with run-of-the-mill quarterbacks.
Just got a text on my phone here from Rob Brown. He says Michigan just won a natty with a mid quarterback.
100% correct. And we just talked about J.J. McCarthy earlier with Najee. Good quarterback. Generational? No.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say that his draft stock and his draft position proves anything above or below what he did at Michigan, right? I mean, the NFL is quarterback crazy. They lose their mind for it. It's like the freaking Beatles just showed up and walked down off of an airplane. Girls are fainting. They're losing their minds. So you can't say because he was a top 5 draft pick that, he was a great quarterback in college. He was exactly what his team needed. And that's okay. That's okay to be that kind of quarterback.
203 says, great coach, not all-time great, just a great coach, top 10 to 15, top 5 in coach in modern era.
Yeah.
Have no problem with that. I don't push back on that.
I though, Cole, the only pushback I would say there is, are we even in the same modern era that Dabo Swinney won his national championships in? I think the paradigm has shifted so much that we are in a new modern era of college football, right? I mean, Dabo didn't win national championships during the transfer portal era. He didn't win national championships. Not yet, right? Well, if we're still doing this under the auspices that he's done.
You're right.
That he didn't win one in the NIL or the portal era. So that's a whole different era of college football that he was not successful in, right? So he was elite in the last era of college football, not now.
That's correct. And I guess I would say, to the texter's point, not an all-time great. An all-time great in my mind, and I know there are only 4 heads, but an all-time great in my mind gets you on Mount Rushmore. A very good coach, you're in line at the bottom, somewhere between 1 and whoever. For example, Diesel, let's do it this way. Let's talk about Dabo in the line of coaches, where you and I put him. If we say he's 1 to 5 in line under the Mount Rushmore, let's stack Dabo up, and I'll ask you, and I'll say yes or no as well. Dabo versus Bear Bryant, yes or no?
No.
I would agree. Would take Bear. Dabo or Nick Saban?
Nick Saban.
So there's 2. Dabo or
Woody Hayes.
I'd probably say Dabo.
Okay, that's fair.
So that puts them, close. You could ask a question about a guy like Eddie Robinson, Joe Paterno,
Tom Osborne,
sure,
Bobby Bowden, Newt Rockne.
Would you say Dabo or Bobby? I'd say Dabo probably.
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't
go
go.
Bobby?
I would go Bobby Bowden. Dabo versus Tom Osborne. I mean, what Tom Osborne did at Nebraska in the early '90s. It was They were untouchable. They were untouchable. I would probably go Tom Osborne.
What about Joe Paterno or Dabo?
Ooh,
that's a tough one.
I'd go Dabo. I'd go Dabo. I mean, maybe it's just me not knowing a tremendous amount about.
No, that's true.
About Penn State in the '70s. I mean, did Joe ever win a national title at Penn State?
You have to look that up. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you. Bullwinkle asked a question on the text line 71307. Bullwinkle says, so who do you guys think is the better coach, Jim Harbaugh or Dabo? Great question.
I'd go Dabo just because Jim.
Oh, man,
I don't think
tough.
Jim has a big enough sample size coaching college football.
You know what? Dabo or Jim Harbaugh, head to head. I love that question, by the way, Bullwinkle. Diesel, I would probably say this. If you look at them head to head, I think X's and O's, I'd take Harbaugh. Recruiting, culture, I'd take Dabo. Those are very even for me.
Joe Paterno did win 2 national championships, or at least AP number 1,
okay,
in 1982 and 1986.
Gotcha.
So as far as championships go, Paterno right there on the same level as Dabo Sweeney.
Sure.
Different eras, obviously. I think what separates and puts Dabo Sweeney over Joe Paterno is the consecutive 10, 11, 12 win seasons that he's
without a doubt.
Dabo had, since we're talking about this as if it were past tense based on Josh Pate's tweet. Dabo didn't have the down seasons the way that Joe Paterno did at Penn State. Obviously, he was at Penn State for a very, very long time, 68, 69, number 2 in the country. And then, 76, they went 7-5 and didn't finish the season ranked.
Thank you, Texter from the 327.
You go
by the
up
way.
to 1984, 6-5, not ranked. 83, not ranked. 87, 88, not ranked. 92, not ranked. So, Joe Paterno certainly had seasons there mixed in where he was finishing the season unranked, and Dabo kept Clemson at a 10-win clip for a very, very long time and didn't have those drop-offs.
Last question before we got to run in a minute, but last head-to-head question for you and our Tolos. By the way, Texter from the 327 says Jimmy Johnson could be on 2 football Mount Rushmores.
Mm-hmm.
Another texter asked the question, Dabo or Urban Meyer, just coaching, no offense, the field stuff only. That's tough.
Yeah.
I'd probably say I might would lean Urban Meyer. That's just me personally. I might would lean Urban. I'll say this. I want to ask this question. Career. If his career ended today, he never coached another game, Diesel. And we'll have texts coming in during the break, I'm sure.
And there's a lot of people who have predicted that Dabo would just sail off into the sunset one day.
Dabo Sweeney, head-to-head, or Steve Spurrier?
Oh, man.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Oh,
that's
man.
That's a fireside chat right there. That's a whole segment in itself.
I would.
Do we have time in the next segment?
Oh man,
Want to come back
tough.
to this?
That's tough because what Steve Spurrier did at 2 different schools. Now, what he did at Florida, he's done it at multiple schools. Did it at Duke, had them really good for his short time there. At Florida, and then at the tail end of his career, when for all intents and purposes, Steve Spurrier should have been there as a cheerleader, as a mascot, take his hat off, wave it in the air. He got South Carolina into national relevance for the first time in their history. Wow. 228-89 as a
So
head coach.
let's do this. I want to hear about this Florida freshman who's like 13 foot tall, but I also want to revisit this. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. We'll get our thoughts and your thoughts. 71307. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. This is the Fan Upstate.
The big debate, Cole, that's going to cause fistfights all over the upstate. It's going to separate families. It's going to be like the North and South all over again. if Dabo Swinney ended his career right now, would we say that Dabo or Steve Spurrier are the better coach overall?
I just had to ask that, man. I had to get that in there.
Here's the thing, Cole. I don't think it's even close. Spurrier. It's Steve Spurrier. Everywhere he went as a head coach, he was successful, except the NFL. But still, he was 20-13 at Duke, 122-27 at Florida, 86-49 at South Carolina. So I don't know how good Florida football was before Steve Spurrier. Like, what was the history of Florida football before Spurrier got there? Good program, bad program. But at least with Duke and South Carolina, those are two bad programs that Steve Spurrier found a way to have plus 500 and not even close, like way plus 500 winning percentages at.
7-time SEC Coach of the Year, 6 SEC championships, plus an ACC championship, won the East 8 times, and a national championship in 96. This is a tough one. But Diesel, I must agree with you. If Dabo's career ended today, I would pick Spurrier's career, and that pains me to say, but listen, I put a lot of value, not to get into a X's and O's conversation here, Diesel, but I put a lot of value in being able to have a feel for the game and being able to have instincts that lead you to victory. What I mean is, we hear in today's world, analytics, numbers. Steve Spurrier, if he coached in today's era, he'd say, screw the analytics. I don't think there was a better college football coach who had a better feel for the game on the field than Steve Spurrier. That's why I take him.
Would crush it in the NIL game and crush it in the transfer portal game.
Think
you
so?
telling me that guy with that charisma, with that trash talking, what do they call it? What do the kids call it today? Cole, we can't say this on the air, but they call it bleep posting. You telling me that Steve Spurrier would not go after these other schools on social media in a way that almost no coach in college football today is willing to do? He absolutely would. And going back to my previous point, what was Florida football before Steve Spurrier? Not much. Like, the Galen Hall era, they were okay. The Charlie Pell era, pretty good. 9 wins, 8 wins, 8 wins. They were okay under Charlie. Pretty good.
Not elite.
Above average. Not elite, but above average under Doug Dickey. And I'm just scrolling down Doug Dickey. Sounds like a modern rapper, right? They were pretty good most years under Doug Dickey, but not elite. Ray Graves, decent. So Florida was a decent program overall before Steve Spurrier got there. What Steve Spurrier did was he made Duke, a program that had never had good football, elite. He made Florida, a program that had been okay, but not elite by any standards, elite. Yeah. He brought South Carolina, a program that was in the dregs of college football, back to elite status for a period of a couple of years there.
Texter says, Woody is by far better than Dabo. Seriously, to even think that is blasphemy. Another
How
texter
dare you?
From the 327 says, Spurrier won nothing at South Carolina. Swinney won championships at a school that was irrelevant prior to his arrival. So, texter, I want to caution you. I don't know if you know this or not. I think you know this, but South Carolina wasn't the only school Spurrier coached at. And also, I'll caution you by saying, was South Carolina relevant with Lou Holtz before Spurrier got there? Really, were they relevant on a national scale? Or did they have 11-win season with Lou Holtz? No, not even close. You're talking to a guy that's grown up a Clemson fan here, okay? I'll pull the curtain back. I don't have any shame in saying it. I love Dabo Swinney. I think Dabo Swinney is in a very high class of college football coaches to ever do it. I'm just talking about coach to coach. I don't know, man. I think Spurrier might have an edge.
Yeah. Under Lou Holtz at South Carolina, 33-37, sub 500.
Not even 500.
Not even close to 500. But Lou Holtz He added some juice back to South Carolina, a program that really needed it. And he was the perfect stepping stone coach for that program to get from where they were before to being able to hire Steve Spurrier.
I'll tell you where I give Dabo the edge over Spurrier. I think Dabo's a more consistent recruiter than Spurrier was. Okay, consistently. Recruiting year. I think Dabo has the edge there. Yes, Spurrier had some amazing talent. But if I have to give Dabo an edge, I'd say it's in recruiting.
Cole, let's stay with Florida here for just a second.
Okay.
Florida basketball, and everybody in the SEC better look out for a freshman who's on his way into the Florida Gators basketball program. His name is Oliver Roux from Quebec. And most of you are saying, why would we be scared of a stinking Canadian? Well, he's 7'9", 290 pounds.
No way. That's a typo.
7'9",
6'9",
290 pounds.
There's no way.
That's what he's listed as on the official Florida roster. And we understand that rosters are sometimes a little bit fudged. But
7'9", you 7'9".
He's not a beanpole either. Like, he is the Guinness World Record holder for the tallest teenager, and joins Chinese Basketball Association star Sun Ming as the tallest basketball players in history. To compare that, George Murison, maybe you know how to say that name. Maybe I butchered it there.
No, sir.
7'7". Manute Bol, 7'6". He is a tree out there, and Florida is going to be very, very tough to beat down low. They just added a transfer from Washington State, Ruben Chinyelu from Washington State. He's 6'11", and he looks tiny next to this guy. You watch him play, he looks like a guy who's 7 feet tall, right? He is tall and slow and lanky and plodding, but who cares? Get him the ball up high. Nobody can reach the ball. All he's got to do is hold it up over his head. Everybody's going to get out of his way.
That's insane to me. 7'9"?
Yeah. You may not see him on the court this year. The plan is to redshirt him, but I just want to know, Cole.
Why?
When he's that tall, do they have to put one of those blinking red lights on the top of his head?
So planes don't hit him? Why do you redshirt a guy that's the tallest basketball player in the history of basketball? What idiot says, hey, let's redshirt him?
You know what's going to happen?
What are you doing?
That's a gamble, because he could transfer out. He could say, well, I'm going somewhere else. He's going to get so many NIL and portal offers.
Redshirt.
Do we know if a pissed off gorilla has ever tried to climb him?
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, that's just one of those God-given traits.
Yeah.
That it's just, it makes him one of those, it's just not fair type of athletes.
It really does.
Like, it's just not fair. He's skinny. He can run. He's not like fast by any means, because nobody who's 7 feet tall is fast. But it's just not fair watching this guy.
Speaking of not fair, yesterday we had the day off. And Diesel and I both engaged in a particular sport. Which one of us did better at the respective sport yesterday on our day off? We'll discuss next. I got an email during the break, Diesel. I am looking at it now. We have confirmed tomorrow, 4:20, we will move Shane Connick because, not to boot Shane, but when the University of South Carolina baseball coach can join you,
Yeah.
you move Shane.
When a national championship winning coach says, I want to come on the show, you say, what time, sir?
Yeah. Sorry, Shane. I love you, Shane. I want to text Shane and say, listen, I'm sorry, but I got to move you tomorrow. We'll do it anytime you want to, just not 4:20. The new baseball coach, South Carolina Gamecocks, Paul Maneri, tomorrow, 4:20, right here on these airwaves. You have not heard him many places yet, other than that press conference, Diesel, that we had that day. He's been, I'm sure he's been making his rounds, but we'll have him tomorrow. Cannot wait for that. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. Diesel, yesterday, you and I both had the day off. It was a company holiday, unless you just wanted to work, unless you were a rock star like Robin Lonzo and wanted to work. You can work. Me and you chose the latter.
Juneteenth. Yeah,
Juneteenth.
celebrating the end of slavery in this country.
Absolutely. We said, hey, we'll celebrate. We'll take the day off, right? If you want to give me and Diesel a day off, we're not going to argue with you, I promise.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I did anything to earn it, but I'll take it.
Well, the question is, as you played golf, and I took on a new challenge yesterday, paddleboarding in a river.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of us did better at our respective sport? It may be an easy answer, but let's kick this thing off. You're a movie guy. One of my all-time favorite movies. It was Cole and Diesel's day off. You know this one? One of the best ever. And sorry, stream, you can't hear it. You're not allowed to hear it because, we can't play everything.
Demonetized for that.
That's right. But if you're listening on traditional radio, you can hear it. It was Cole and Diesel's day off. Diesel, you played golf. I heard on X, I saw that you shot pretty good for your standard.
Yeah.
I'll tell the audience. I volunteered yesterday to go with a buddy of mine to a river, Green River. You've been to Green River before, I'm sure.
No, I've never been to Green
You've
River.
never been?
No.
Well, it's in Saluda, North Carolina. Not far at all.
Did you fish off this paddleboard?
I should have. But paddleboarding, a newer sport. Most people in the Green River, a lot of rapids. Most people tube or kayak, right? Paddleboarding is becoming a new sport. A buddy of mine does it. And he has like 6 boards. He said, hey, you want to go with me? I said, Shag, I'll go. But I said, I might not be able to do it.
Somebody called me.
Well, he only had 2.
Thought you said he has 6.
Well, he was already.
They were already committed.
Yeah. There was a couple other guys. But Cole was the first one that was
I could have brought my kayak.
Well, you could have. How about, listen, we'll make it happen. However, the moral of the story is I get out there yesterday. He jumps on the board, floats in the river, and he says, all right, come on. So I stand up on my knee, go from my knees to standing up. I'm tight. I'm stiff. I'm shaking. The whole paddleboard shaking. And he didn't tell me this until later on in the trip. And he's sitting there thinking, oh, boy, this could be a long day, right? Who have I brought? Within the first 2 minutes, I lost the board. The board was down the river. He had to recover it for me. But 6 miles later, we're paddling. Then we did 6 miles on the
That's
Green
a
River.
long river.
Long
That's a
river.
long
Long
time
way.
paddling. Yeah.
About 45 minutes or so in, Diesel, I got the hang of it.
Yeah.
I started standing. So you
got to
get
loosen up a little bit.
You got to loosen up. You get to the rapids, flat water, then the rapids. Flat water, I said, okay, I'll be brave. Stood up, fell a few times, had to go back to my knees. But it was the most challenging thing that I've done in a long time.
How much does your core and your abs hurt?
Oh, I'm toe to ear.
Is
I woke
there a
up
reason
this
why
morning,
you haven't stood up the entire show?
Maybe not. I woke up this morning thinking, bleep work. I can't move. Like I'm so sore. So the question is, who had the better day? I would say experience probably wins in this situation because you played golf before.
Yeah.
And 93 is not bad, right?
No. So let me describe my day. So you were on the Green River 6 mile paddle on a paddleboard, stand-up paddleboard. I've done a stand-up paddleboard a little bit up at the U.S. Whitewater Center in Charlotte. They got a flat water section up there, and you can paddleboard up there. So I've done it just a little bit, but not 6 miles. Certainly not on rapids. I mean, that's a scary thought. I don't know how deep is the Green River?
Like, can you see the bottom from standing up?
Most places you can see the bottom. Some rapids.
So you're saying you could fall off and crack your skull on
Oh,
rock?
sure.
Very easily.
I had helmet, I had elbow pads, and I had knee pads.
Do you have a Hans device?
What is that?
The NASCAR Hans device?
I had a quick release. Really?
Okay.
So
okay.
I looked like an idiot. I'm talking about helmet, knee pads, shoulder pads, quick release. I mean, it looked like a freaking goofball, but
Yeah. So I went
didn't die.
down to play golf at the club at Brookstone in Anderson.
Okay.
10:40 tee time. There's almost nobody there. I guess they had a tournament earlier in the day. So I went to hit my bucket of balls,
warm up.
using the TrackMan machine there to dial in my distances, because it's been a while since I played. I've only played one time this year. I used to play a lot. 2022, I played a ton. 2023, I only played 2 or 3 times. This year, I've only played 2 times so far. So I needed to get my bearings back under me again.
Sure.
Took a lot of lessons in 2022 and did not play a lot in 23. Anyway, so I get out there, Cole, and at first I'm mad because I'm playing by myself. And I'm happy to play golf by myself. I actually prefer to play golf by myself. But I'm mad because I get out there to the first tee and there's a foursome teeing off, and there's a foursome in front of them.
Oh, God.
And I'm just thinking, oh, crap, I'm going to be stuck behind these guys all day. And obviously, because I'm playing alone, I'm going to be playing faster than them, even though I'm not good. Right. But apparently that was the tail end of a tournament. So I said, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go tee off on number 10. And it was the best decision I made all day. You know why? Because there was a twosome in front of me that were playing fast. And then there was one guy way behind me who eventually kind of caught up by hole number 15, 16 or so. But ultimately, I was playing without any pressure by myself.
Did you play 9 or 18?
I played 18.
Okay,
so I played the back
around.
9. Played the back 9 first, then the front 9. Had nobody in front of me on the front 9, which is what I played second. Nobody behind me either. I mean, it was picture perfect day. It was like low 80s yesterday. And I shot fairly well for my standard of golf. I understand I'm not a great golfer. I'm a plus 22 handicap, which, again, not good, which means I typically shoot in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
And I shot a 93. And I felt like, you know what? I actually parred a couple of par 3s. I parred a par 4 and a par 5.
How many bogeys?
A lot. A lot. I am typically a bogey to double bogey golfer. I get really mad at myself if I triple bogey. But that doesn't happen very often anymore. So
Madcraft says, bad word, you can't trust that 93 now that you were by yourself. Next time, call a man, says Madcraft. So I would say 93.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make the PGA Tour with this round, okay? I take liberties. No. I'm not going to hit off Madcraft. I actually thought about you, Madcraft, yesterday when I was playing. You were like, you told me one time, you'd be surprised just how much relief you can take while playing a round of golf. Like how many mulligans you can get. If your ball ends up in this particular place, you can move it over there.
Yeah.
I tried very hard to play within the spirit of the game.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to be like, if I landed off in the woods, I wasn't going to bring out and put it in the middle of the fairway.
Sure.
But if I was way off in the woods and I could find the ball, I'm going to put it on the edge of the cart path, where I've got a little bit of good grass to hit off of.
Yeah, you got to do that.
And I take some liberties. Again, I realize it's a 93, and you can't, if you're listening over the air, I'm doing the air quotes things. It was a 93, not a real 93, like tournament rules.
Sure. Though, I think for somebody, I'm thinking me who doesn't play golf, for me to shoot a 93, it would take a lot of training, a lot of practice, a lot of
beers.
No, it'd be the other way around. It'd go the other. I mean, it would take a lot of. I'd have to have a lot of lessons.
Thank you.
To shoot a 93.
Thank you, Patrick. Patrick Brown used to work here at when it was the four-letter network, upstate. Took some lessons with Patrick. He helped me out.
Oh, Patrick gave you lessons?
Yeah, he gave me some lessons. They gave me like 2 lessons, 1 or 2 lessons.
No way.
He's a good coach. He's a good coach.
Patrick's never given me any lessons.
Well, he says 93 is a good score on that course. He shot an 82 over there a couple of weeks ago.
That's good.
I mean, average golf.
It would take me a long time to shoot 93.
If an average golfer shoots 100, I felt pretty good about shooting under that. And again, I've only played golf twice this year.
And there was somebody at the PGA, no, not going to throw names out there because he's a good friend of mine, but a celebrity at the, whatchamacallit, BMW.
Charity Pro-Am.
Came off the course and told me, Cole, I shot a 91 today.
Yeah, but he was probably shooting a 91, like a legit
Tournament
91.
9. Okay.
Yeah, meaning you can't take any relief. You can't move the ball. Yeah. Again, I'm not gonna hit off dirt, right? Again, I'm not trying to get my tour card off of that 93 at this course.
Well, Madcraft says, look, I'm glad y'all have fun. I'm tempted to go with Diesel's day, but I don't like golfing by myself. I take a day on the Green River always.
I think we both had good days.
It was a good day for me in a sense of I didn't break a bone. I didn't have head trauma, no concussions, no bleeding. I did take a couple of falls. Here's what we need to do.
You didn't die, and I didn't lose every golf ball in my bag.
No, that's true. What we need to do, though, is we need to reverse the roles here.
Yeah.
I need to learn how to play golf. You need to try to paddleboard on the river.
Yeah.
So I was told by this. The guy I went with, he has a lot of experience paddleboarding. He said a good place to learn how to paddleboard is like a lake or a river that has no current, right? You can get your balance down. You can figure out how to, shift your feet, different stances. He told me yesterday before he said that, just heads up. He said, this is not a good place to learn. He said, because this is, he says, tough.
It's a river with
rapids. So I would say the first 4 rapids, I went down on my knees. So like you go down and you just basically hope, crap, I hope I don't flip, right? And you do, like I think I fell in the water 3 or 4 times the whole trip, which isn't bad. What you do learn is, though, as you're doing, you've been kayaking, you learn that balance is number 1. You have to learn that first. Then you have to learn how to paddle. So I didn't know this. I'm curious if you know this or not. Do you know that you can paddle from one side only and go both directions? See, I always learned, well, if you're paddling, you need to go this way, just paddle on the other side, right? There's a way you can turn the paddle while you're paddling and you don't go right. Because, realistically, if you paddle left, you're going to go right. If you paddle right, you're going to go left. This method was really hard for me to conquer. The third technique, Diesel, is when you hit a rapid, you have to find a line before you hit the rapid with no rocks.
Sure.
That's the hard part because you have drop-offs.
Learning how to set yourself up for that.
Set yourself up. That was tough, but by the end, again, we did 6 miles. It took 3 hours. It was a long day. I was wore out. By the end of the day, I could figure out some lines. I went through some rapids on my feet, so I felt proud of myself. But I will say this. If you're looking to have a day off and enjoy yourself, don't go paddleboard. There's nothing relaxing.
Well, you're probably right about that.
There were 1 million people on the pink floats. So
Yeah.
you can go to the Green River right now.
Go tubing.
And
Have
get
great
a
tube.
and do whatever you want to do.
Drink as many beers as you want.
Right. And just relax.
Now, Madcraft says, do not go golfing by yourself if you're new to the game. You won't have fun, and you'll quit, and you'll never play again. He's right about that. He is right about that.
Well, that's good advice for me because I don't play golf.
Yeah.
But I want to learn.
So I think if you want to start golf, you can call up our friend Patrick Brown.
Well, you just
take some lessons first.
He said
because you're not going to have a clue what to do. It is a very complex game.
No. I need a lot of lessons.
Yeah, it's a very complex game, and just minute changes will drastically affect the way that you play. I mean,
So
most people naturally don't even know how to hold a golf club.
Well, that's true.
And if you go out there and you're just hacking at the ball and it's all over the place, and
you do that,
you're going to get really, but I can do this. If you're hacking at the ball, spraying it left, right, you're going to be worn out. And you're going to score. Yeah, you're going to score a 20 on every hole. People behind you are going to get mad. And he's right. You're never going to play again. You're going to lose all your golf balls by the 9th hole, and you're going to say, screw this, I'm done.
So, funny story. By the way, Patrick Brown texted me and said, call me up sometime. I'll give you some lessons so that way one day we can play, right? In college, see, I played baseball until I think I quit baseball in the 8th grade maybe, sometime middle school. Played baseball, a lot of summer league, stuff like that. So, I can swing a baseball bat in regular form. In college, I took 2 golf lessons. The golf coach where I went to school, not badmouth him, he's a heck of a coach. He just wasn't the best for me, right? The first time I ever took a golf lesson, he said, look, how long did you play baseball for? I said, well, I didn't ever tell you. I was surprised, but he could tell that I had baseball mechanics when I was trying to pick it up my foot and weird stuff,
and
right?
Rearing back.
Yeah, rearing back. And he said, you gotta forget all that.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, I can forget this. I can forget this. So I can forget. I'm not doing this no more. I took 2 lessons and I was done.
But here's the thing: you being a former baseball player, maybe you'd have to tell me this about yourself. Would you consider yourself coachable?
Yes,
if you can
yes,
consider
but
yourself,
I'm not patient. That's the problem.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna struggle.
You know what I mean? I'm just not like people wouldn't classify me as a patient person. I know that I have to dedicate time, and that they say, look, if you're gonna play, if you're gonna take lessons, you better
do it now.
Practice.
Do it now, because I didn't start playing golf until I was 35. You're 27.
Yeah.
You got 8 more years.
So if I could
to
be
get into this
by
game.
30, I could go pro.
You might, look out, Charlie Woods.
Look out, baby.
When we come back, we're going to take you back to a conversation that we had earlier with Minnesota Vikings safety and special teams ace Najee Thompson. He is a local hero. Played his high school ball at Boiling Springs, played college ball at Georgia Southern. We had a fantastic conversation with him earlier, and you're going to hear it again next, right here on the Fan Upstate.
It is Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. This is the Fan Upstate. So glad to be with you on this Thursday edition of Wire to Wire as we bring in Minnesota Vikings safety and special teams ace Najee Thompson. Najee, so excited to have you on, brother. And I said safety, not corner, because I'll start with that. Just recently announced that the Vikings have moved you to safety. Talk about that. What's up, man?
The biggest thing in that, like we said, the league is about a numbers game. So we went and got, brought in some great corners this year. Kyrie from Oregon, and then Dwight, he played at LSU some. So, bringing in two, corners that helps our room, and we're pretty deep at corner anyway. And then, with our safety room, Harrison still has a few more years left in him, but that's just, it's more building for the future. Just be able to sit around and learn from him, Josh Metellus, Cam Bynum, and me just also learning from, like the Jay Ward. He's had a year of experience already at it. So also just learn from him. And so just, sitting back and be able to learn from that while still be able to excel on special teams is just going to help the team either this year or in the future, however that might come. And then, like I said, I played safety before, like in the high school and everything. And it was just being able to retain information, quickly and learn it. And I was in the room last year and I was able to, just pick up on small things and learn that. So that was just it's more of a numbers game, and also just helping me excel at what I do. Also, on special teams is also what you do at safety as far as covering ground, having to, be able to decel, excel, tackle in open space. So that's another thing I want to be able to take my game to the next level is tackling open space. So they seen that. And so they're like, okay, safety is another great move. And then, just a numbers game also.
Najee Thompson joins us here on Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson, the first NFL player to join us on Wire to Wire. So you get that distinction. Add that to your resume and your Wikipedia page. I want to know, Najee, I know that you play corner, you play safety, you're playing a lot of special teams at the moment for the Vikings. Is the pressure to be perfect on special teams play so much more intense because you get fewer opportunities during every game, or do your coaches kind of allow you to go out and make mistakes or just play free?
Honestly, this started back when I first got down to Georgia Southern. Coming out of high school, be able to be the guy at the school and everything, going into college, you sometimes don't get that availability to be the guy. So I came in, I was a safety, really didn't have the footwork and everything. So then I just kind of moved around to receiver. We were triple option at the time. So it was like, so it's just me. I just went and found something. So I went and found a knack. So I went and found the special teams knack. I was able to, work at it in practice, block punts and stuff. So then Coach Chad Lunsford, who's assistant head coach at FAU now, he was just throwing me around different spots, and I was just able to excel at different spots. So I don't see it as pressure at all now because I've been doing special teams for a very, very long time, and I have so many reps at it. But for me, the limited plays, I never look at it as limited. Like, it's just you got that one time to go make a play. And if you don't, you never know when the opportunity is coming again. So for me, I go out there to excel at it every time. And that's you can like really just pull the tape up and really like my career started off really slow. My first 8 weeks in the league were slowest I probably had in my career. And it came down to be like possible we might need to make a change here because like what we thought isn't getting it done. And so when I go into the Atlanta Falcons game, it was I got to make some plays, or in time in Minnesota really could be done. That's just the business. And I understand that. So at that point in time, it wasn't really pressure. It was like, okay, I got to get this done because it wasn't like I can't make the plays. It was just my timing aspects off. I don't know why it's off. Like I'm looking at the film, like what's happening here. And so I was able to get it figured out, after that and, just be able to stack back-to-back games together and stuff like that. I don't really call it pressure. It's just, you got to go execute. You're probably going to get 10, 15 on a high end, 20 plays a game. And like I said, I'm okay with that, and I love that. And like I said, for me, the role I just want to build my role more and more. I never want to put too much on the plate to where you're just doing this and that. I'm a type of guy that I'm gonna find something, I'm gonna excel at it, and then we're just gonna stack from there as far as building a resume.
Love that answer, Najee. Najee Thompson joining us on Wire to Wire. Listen, second year coming up in the NFL, last year as a rookie. What do you use to allow you to have a chip on your shoulder? Obviously, you don't have that big contract yet that we're all hoping you get one day. But as someone who's still trying to prove themselves in the league, what do you use every day as a chip on your shoulder?
It's funny. So, honestly, I use the outside noise as a chip because it's the everyday or every other thing, like something pops up. Oh, he can't do this. He can't do that. You know, some players might go, he's not good at this. He's not good at that. And it's like, for me, I know what my resume holds. I know what I've been able to do. I'm able to do both sides of the ball. You know, at a high level, no matter what level I was playing at, I was able to do it. I can do it. So it's just funny, like, I don't have to show it all the time. That's the thing. That's the difference. Some guys have to show it every day to make guys believe, he has to do it. I personally, I worry about myself, like what others say about me, how they feel about me. Hats off to them. I never have cared. I never will care. I use that as fuel, though. Like, I'll sit and listen to it, and it's like, he can't do it. I'll go show him a splash. Like, okay, here you go. I can't do it. Come up with something new. And so that's what I use just to go every day. And it's like, now a lot of guys think I can't do certain stuff. So I'm going to put a lot of stuff on tape this year just to prove to them, like, I have it in my bag. I just don't have to use it because in this situation, I don't feel like it's needed to be used.
He played at Bowling Springs. He played at Georgia Southern, entering his second season in the NFL. You see that Vikings logo right there on his chest. Najee, we are in an era of unprecedented access, right? People will get more access to the individual players through their social media. We get more access through teams and the videos that they post and all the different shows that go behind the scenes in the NFL. What, after one full season, what don't most fans know about the day-to-day, the grind of playing in the NFL?
A lot of people think we probably spend more time on the field than anything. We spend half our day in the meeting rooms and, just going over plays and, we still have the wait times that we do like every day. Really what fans don't really understand as when you see an NFL player and they might not perform to your standings, it's not that they suck at all. Nobody in this league sucks. There's just different levels to the league thing. And, it takes players sometime a lot longer to learn and perform than others. And also, you might not be in the best system. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. This whole league thing is about different systems. That's why you hear a West Coast. That's why you hear a balance or a pro style. And even on defense, you have a 4-3, 3-4. And even with us, like, we have a bunch of different defenses that not everybody can play in. So it's just like with fans, they probably don't understand how much a person actually puts into being in the league. Because, we might have 12, 14-hour days, and then it's like, boom, that's cool. That's what's required for you. But for me, I need to go get the scout report again, and, okay, I'm coming home. I'm going to pull this guy up on TV and find some different knacks, not only for me, for the next guy that might get reps that might not watch the film, and that's okay. But everybody needs a leader or everybody needs that teacher to tell them this or that, because I don't only want myself to exceed, because I don't ever exceed without somebody else. Like those plays that you might see me make, somebody else is helping make those plays. Yeah, I had the one-on-one outside, cool, but my coach gave me the scout report and it's like, okay, these are some tips. His leader, showed him something to tell me. So it's just with the league, it's just like a lot of stepping stones that that people don't understand. Everybody sees the individual performance, but they don't understand like the guy punting the ball, great guys. The guy snapping the ball. It's just a team execution that I don't think really everybody pays attention to because it doesn't ever show up in the box score. And so that's the big thing that fans don't understand, like the preparation into it.
We're talking to Najee Thompson, former Georgia Southern Eagle and former Bowling Springs Bulldog from right here in the upstate. Hey, Najee, you guys drafted J.J. McCarthy. I know training camp hasn't started yet, but last year, a lot of quarterback carousel at times for you guys. Toward the end of the season, it seemed like there was some momentum at that position. What's it been like being on the same team, even though it's just been for a few months with the former national championship or the former national champion for Michigan?
Around this time of the year, it's all about building relationships. That's what this time's about. When the guy comes in, when he came in, he's a great guy. I mean, down to earth. He fits into the culture, however it is. Like, he fits in everywhere. But around this time of the year, we go into OTAs. Yeah, it's about getting plays in. Like, that's just football. We know that's coming. But while we have time off, we're going to go out to eat here. We're going to go bowling here. It's just building relationships for this time, because we know when we come back in July, it is grind time. It is long days. It is many hours. It is wear and tear. And it is everybody's trying to go make a 53-man roster. We have 90 people on the roster. We all know that only 53 can make it, and 16 goes on a practice squad. And so we know right now that we're going to enjoy each other, and we're still going to enjoy each other in camp. Don't ever get that wrong. But it's more of a I got to feed my family. You got to feed your family. Kind of don't care what it takes. Yeah. We're going to take care of each other. We're not going to go hurt each other like that, but we're going to compete, and it's made the best man win.
Najee, tell me about that first winter there in Minnesota. I mean, a guy from South Carolina who spent his college days in South Georgia. Man, Minneapolis must have been rough that first time around.
Well, it's funny because if you hear it from me, I'm going to be like, it was -8. It sucked. It was cold. I kind of got used to it. You know, it wasn't really just killing me. I'd wake up, the roads are clear. I'd go to sleep, wake up the next day. Man, it is inches of snow on the ground. I'm like, what just happened? But if you ask anybody else, this might be the best winter they've ever had. And they were actually happy about that. And so I just South Carolina, we're getting an inch. We're shutting everything down. We're good. Here, it rolls like normal. They're clearing roads at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. When you get back up next morning, they are spotless.
Najee, listen, we hear a lot of times, man, that players' biggest jump is made from year 1 to year 2. Is that true for you? And if so, how?
Well, it's a blessing and a curse between year 1 and year 2. Either a player jumps or a player fails. And for me, I think it's going to be a major jump just because I understand what's expected now. I know what teams are going to bring to the table. I see our schedule. We have, again, some of the best special teams players that I'm going to play against, some of the best special team coaches and teams that I'm going to play against. And I know what's expected. So I know for me, I can't bring to the table what I brought last year. It has to only go a step higher. And I have to try different stuff because it's on tape. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. That's fine. So now I'm going to add something different to the game that's going to throw you off to where now you're not going up there knowing, oh, he only can do this. So now for me, the year 2 jump is going to be big for me just because I'm going to have to put new stuff on tape that I want to put on tape that I've been working out already this offseason. And for me, I'm ready for that jump. So for me, I think this year 2 is going to be a big jump. And also I'll look at it as when we talk about contract stuff. So it's like year 2 going into year 3, this really is my contract time because I want to use these first 2 years as, okay, we come to the table. This is what this is. This is how I stacked up against the league, against the highest paid special teams players. Because it's not like I'm just playing special team. Like I'm playing the highest paid special teams players out there in the league, the top 3 coaches in the league, how they present it. So that's why these first 2 years are big for me because I'm getting the best of the best off the rip.
Najee Thompson, former Boiling Spring Bulldog, now playing with the Minnesota Vikings. Speaking of that jump, Najee, can you point to anything that you really picked up or learned from watching veteran players on your team or even players from opposing teams on that sideline that you've been able to incorporate into your game, whether it's the little things like technique or footwork or even the way they carry themselves on the field?
I say the biggest thing, for me, I always have just try to come up with things of my own game. Like I look at other guys and how they do certain stuff. I'm just usually not a fan of doing certain stuff because I've always built my life off speed. A lot of guys don't ever build their life off speed, but I say just their savviness of how they do certain stuff and how they carry their stuff around. Like they do all these camps and stuff like that. Just build with the community, because sometimes that can save your job. Just building with the community and then going to make plays, because all that is just money, money, money. They feed in, you help them, they help you. You never know who you're going to run into, and that's just kind of what I build my day-to-day life off of. And so I just look at like certain players around the league. Like I base myself like with Matthew Slater. He did his whole career special teams. I would love that. And, other guys would, like for me to go do defense stuff. I'm fine and open to doing defense. I'm not totally shutting it off. But for me, I found a knack with special teams, and I found a passion and love for it. So I'm going to stick to that passion and love. And it's like, oh, you're missing out on millions, blah, blah. Yeah, you missed out on the football side of things, but there's still a business side of thing in the world with football that I can explore in, that I'm fine with taking that risk. I've always been a risk taker. I didn't get to where I was today without being a risk taker, and I'll never stop being a risk taker. And that's just who I am as a person.
Man, I love that, Najee. I'll tell you this before we let you go. My favorite memory this past year, well, two of them, getting to see you play in Carolina was awesome. And then the second one was the Green Bay game when you're down like 27 points, fourth quarter, late in the game. And, a lot of people pack it in at that time, but a special teams, I believe it was a punt, and you forced the fumble, grabbed the ball. Man, I was just like screaming like a little kid. But, look, we appreciate you hopping on with us. Anytime you want to come back home, just on the radio here in Spartanburg and Greenville, we'll let you anytime you want to.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to make a trip back here soon on this break, and I'll hit you up and let you know when I'm back.
Najee, I do want to ask you one more question. As a risk taker, I want to know, how many showers did you have to take after swimming in beautiful Eagle Creek there in Statesboro? As a rival App State Mountaineer alum, I just want to know how dirty that water actually is.
It is pretty dirty. I got in there one time, as a senior thing. I didn't go no further than like waist deep. You do have some guys that actually get in there and go full body splurge. But Eagle Creek is a very, very beautiful thing to go see. If you ever get a chance to go out there, Coach Helton and, Jared Binko, Chris Davis, all those guys, they're all open to the community, fans, everything. Georgia Southern, like I tell kids, don't ever focus on going to these big schools. If you can play ball, they're going to find you. And that's just as simple as it gets. And that's what a lot of kids just don't understand nowadays, that they want to go to, let me go to this big school. That's cool. But guess what? There's a lot of kids right now to this day went to these big schools and they transferred about 5 times. They transfer every year because the grass isn't always green on the other side. And the biggest thing is just loyalty. I could have left Georgia Southern plenty of times. I had honestly thought about it because, just going through that process wasn't my style, because I've never been on the back burner sometime. But my thing was I stayed loyal, and I was like, I want to play it out here, and I love it there just like I love it here. But like I say, in Eagle Creek, it separates boy from men. I can tell you that much.
Najee, you're the best, man. Appreciate you hopping on with us, and can't wait to catch up with you soon, brother.